What do you do when your team can't run the football? When, like Hamilton, you have the worst rushing in the CFL? Or like Winnipeg, you have the second worst rushing attack? Well, you put the ball in the air. Tiger Cats' Anthony Cavillo's favorite receiver is Bert Thornton. Thornton averaging over 16 yards a catch. When Chris Vargas looks to pass, his #1 guy is Milt Stegall. He's caught for 168 yards in 2 games. It's an all-out aerial attack. It's the Winnipeg Blue Bombers against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. It's Friday Night Football, and it's coming up next.
Well, anytime's great for football, but only when it feels just right. We're gonna kick back, relax, watching football on a Friday night. It's Friday, and we're gonna be hard to tame. It's Friday, from coast to coast, the CFL is Canada's game. Well, we're all pumped up to party, and we're ready for a fight. Come on, kick back, relax, watching Friday Night Football. Boys, it's too bad when the CFL football game is up for grabs. It's Friday Night Football tonight.
Live from Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton, it's the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, on Friday Night Football. And yes, we are live and interactive here at TSN, so if you like, get on the net while you watch the game. You can play QB1 throughout this football game. Again, everyone, welcome to another edition of Friday Night Football here on TSN. I'm Rod Smith. Tonight, 2 teams really in need of their first wins of the season. It's the Ticats and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers who lost their opening games this season to both the Montreal Alouettes and the Toronto Argonauts. Glad you could tune in. You know my friends, the coach, Bob Obilovich, Les Brown, and Marty York of the Globe and Mail. You know, both of these football teams looked better last week, certainly than they did in week 1, but they don't have the win to show for it yet, and both have some concerns to deal with. For the Ticats, of course, it's getting more consistency on offense. With their thoughts, let's head to Ivor Wynne Stadium now and join John Wells, Leif Pettersson, and David Archer.
Rod, the Ticats and Blue Bombers, 2 teams without a victory, try and find a way tonight. And for Hamilton, it seems rather simple, David Archer. Somehow Anthony Cavillo has to find a way to score some points before the 4th quarter.
He really does, and I think it all comes down to just having him relax. I think that there's a lot of pressure on him. I think that he realizes that really the team is riding on his shoulders. And I think he just needs to relax, just distribute the football and do the things that he needs to do to allow the team to rally around him.
You know, Dave, what I really find interesting about this game tonight, I know it's only week 3 of the season, but both teams are looking for their first victory. And, you know, you come out of training camp and you think, we've got a pretty good team. Well, now all of a sudden you're 0-2. Somebody after tonight's going to think, hey, we're on the right track. We got our first win. For the other team, it may be back to the drawing board. And 0-3 is not going to be a lot of fun.
Ironically, both these teams have had their opening losses this season against Montreal and Toronto. And to the loser of this one in Hamilton tonight, it's going to be a long way from the top of the heap in the CFL East Division. Rod?
Okay, thank you, John. And yes, for both of these clubs, it's becoming a more distant memory since the last time they won the Grey Cup. We've got a guy here, and it's not Marty York, who has rings from each team's last Grey Cup victory.
I've got a nice pen, though.
Yes, you do. Les Brown, though, with the 1986 ring for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, also the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in 1990. Remembers those good days for both teams and loves to talk about defense. Yeah, well, you kissed the rings, Les. Very nice. Tell me about the Ticats defense. I know you can appreciate that and how well they played against Doug Flutie and the Argos last week.
I was really impressed with Hamilton's defense last week against Doug Flutie and the Argos. They controlled him like you can't stop Doug. You can only control him, and that's what Hamilton did. The front 7 is a much improved front 7 than last year. You know, with the addition or the change of Joe Munford moving from linebacker to rush in, and he has been solid there. You know, has helped Jermaine Younger to get on the field at the same time. And he's playing really well in that defensive linebacking core for them. I think they have one of the best front 7s in the CFL today. Either though, Coach might disagree with me about that because we have different opinions all the time, but I think they are. The only question mark I have about Hamilton is their secondary. Their secondary has allowed 70% of the passes to be completed on them, and I think, though, that might change, though, because they got Aaron Ruffin back there with them, and I think that's going to help them out a lot.
Well, Obi, when we talk about the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, I remember 2 weeks ago in Friday Night Football mentioning the fact that there are 18 new starters in that Bombers lineup and 10 on defense. It's going to take some time for that team to gel.
Well, you're right, Rod, and interestingly enough, they started the season out with 22 out of the 36 being new players on their team, and interestingly for this game, they're the same group starting for the 3rd straight week in a row, so I think you're going to see Winnipeg gel a little more tonight on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Another area that I'm looking forward tonight, there's been some disappointment, I think, in the return game with the likes of Kenny Willite for Hamilton, and Shalom Baker hasn't done it for Winnipeg, not the way they have in the past. So I think one of those two guys is going to break out tonight and make some big plays. And with Aaron Ruffin there, who used to do a great job for Saskatchewan, look for the return game to be exciting tonight.
Well, our Marty York started off at 4-0, and since, hey, Marty, you're slipping back to 5-3 now.
Thanks for mentioning that.
Well, getting a little closer to the 500 record, but I noticed your tie tonight, and of course, your usual sartorial splendor, sporting Tiger Cats, if you want to call it that, on your tie. Is that an indication of how you're leaning tonight?
Well, actually not. If you noticed, you may have noticed the jacket is blue. So Las Vegas is favoring the Tiger Cats by 3.5 points tonight, and I don't think that the Tiger Cats deserve to be favored over anybody. This is a team in trouble. They're a mess offensively. Don Southern's job as head coach is already on the line. Yes, Les, you're right. The Tiger Cats have played well defensively, but the Bombers haven't played poorly offensively. They've allowed the fewest sacks in the CFL. And Chris Vargas is the only starting quarterback in the league who hasn't allowed an interception. So I'm saying take the underdogs tonight and get the points.
Marty, I don't care. He hasn't thrown not one interception. They're still 0-2.
One of these teams will pick up.
Tiger Cats.
One of these teams will get win number 1 of the season. The other one will fall to 0-3. Opening kickoff from Ivor Wynn when we come back.
Sticky at Ivor Wynn and Hamilton. Both coaches are feeling a little heat after losing the first 2 games of 1997.
Well, John, Jeff Reinbold, South Bend, Indiana, first year as a head coach, no longer the player's buddy. He's got to make all the tough decisions. Made a few mistakes in the first 2 games, but that's the only way you learn, and his gut's wrenching for that first win. And David, so's Don Southern.
Yeah, Don Southern really needs a win. I think he feels a little self-imposed heat. Got 7 Grey Cup rings, so he knows how to do it. Just wants to get his team off to a good start.
And he wants to get the Hamilton Tiger Cats into the win column after 2 straight losses to kick off 1997. The Bombers will kick it off into the sun. Troy Westwood is ready to get the football evening underway. An interesting formation. Uncovered by Jeff Reinbold here. Bouncing down to the newcomer Anderson for the Tiger Cats. And he slides across the 35 to the 37. Penalty marker down on the first play. Indication is holding.
Yeah, you're going to get
Against the
Donovan
return
right with a
team.
hold here, John. Donovan just grabbed his guy and threw him to the ground.
Holding, Hamilton number 27, first down.
Right on the money. Anthony Cavillo still looking to find his form. His numbers are not all that bad. He's hitting on 56% of his passes. But when he runs the ball, he averages 6.7 yards a carry.
The interesting thing about that is he's the leading rusher for this Hamilton Ticat team.
1st and 10 as the Tiger Cats begin at the 22-yard line of Hamilton. Cavillo, a little play action fake to buy some time, looking deep. And it's picked up. The first play intercepted by Shannon Garrett. And he just reached out over his shoulders and dragged that one in.
And Shannon Garrett did a heck of a job to turn into a receiver on this ball, simply overthrown. And boy, a disastrous way for Anthony Cavillo to start the game when he's had no momentum. But Prince Wimbley down the field, and watch Garrett locate the football. It's overthrown, and boy, that's a super catch. to get a turnover on the opening play of the ball game.
Yeah, I just think that's a great athletic play by Garrett there. They actually good one-on-one coverage. They came with a blitz the first play of the game. Man coverage downfield. Garrett makes a nice play.
His first interception of the season. He had a couple last year. So the Bombers are set up at the Tiger Cat 33. Chris Vargas finds Stiegel, and Stiegel is tracked down by Gerald Vaughn. Chris Vargas making his third start as a Blue Bomber. He has passed for 405 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and there's the nice number there, David. 0 interceptions so far.
No INTs, but he's fumbled the ball 4 times, John. That's been the big question, hanging on to the ball in the pocket.
Ooh, you're being mean to those quarterbacks there, Archer.
Loss of 3, 2nd and 13 as Vargas sets. Boyko has it, and he's grabbed from behind by Younger. Milt Stiegel is the only receiver back from 1996. He's joined in the receiving corps by the Boyko twins. Ronald Williams has 3 rushing touchdowns for Winnipeg already. Perez, Bjorn, and Hendrickson are new on the offensive line in Winnipeg.
That's a real good offensive front that Vargas has in front of him. They ran the ball extremely well the last couple of weeks, especially against Toronto in the first ball game.
And although, David, although they come out throwing on this first series, trying to take advantage of their turnover with some points, I suspect they're going to try and run the ball at that Hamilton front today.
Westwood will go for 3. He's been good on 4 of 5. Spotted by Cameron just inside the 35. And Troy Westwood has given the Winnipeg Blue Bombers a 3-0 lead. The field goal set up on a turnover. You're watching Friday Night Football on TSN.
Friday Night Football on TSN is brought to you by Advantage, providing solutions for business. And by Gatorade. Life is a sport. Drink it up.
Anthony Cavillo on the sideline, still looking for answers. An early interception leads to a Winnipeg field goal.
Well, certainly not the start Anthony wanted to get off to. I think that it was a situation where he had man coverage and threw the ball, hoping that one of his players would come up with it, Prince Wembley in this case, and it didn't come up with it. So I think you just got to relax, John, go out and not worry about the defense. Came in, did their job, essentially came in and shut them down, gave up just 3 points.
Ready for a Winnipeg kickoff. Westwood taking his time and waiting for the formation to move. This is Aaron Ruffin, another newcomer. Joined the Hamilton Tiger Cats just 2 days ago. He's out across the 30 to the 37. Met there by Doug Hocking. Cavillo has passed for 469 yards so far. Here's who he's got to throw to. Bert Thornton, Ashonde Smith outside. Mike Morielli and Prince Wembley inside. And in the backfield, Marcus Thomas and Archie Amerson. A veteran offensive line with only one real new face up there, Peter Shorts. 1st and 10, Ticats beginning at the 38. Cavillo had success running in the latter stages against Toronto last week. Shante Peoples forced him out there, but the gain is limited to a couple.
And that's one thing I think Cavillo's going to do. You know, David Archer talked earlier tonight about patience with Anthony Cavillo, but patience sometimes is not throwing footballs and running when you have the opportunity. Now, he only got a couple of yards there, but he's not a bad runner. I think he's a better runner than most people think. And I think patience means you run sometimes and you don't force footballs in there. And I think he can do it.
2nd and 8. Cavillo has Grigg. Andrew Grigg makes the catch. He'll have a first down. Wrapped up by Brandon Hamilton.
What I really think that is a positive play for Anthony Cavillo. You know, Dave, you throw the interception early, you're probably a little rattled, but to come back after you get the football in the kickoff and get your first down of the ball game, you know, at least some of the jitters have gone away and some of the poor feelings about how you started have gone.
Out at the Tiger Cat 52, first down for Cavillo. And the Tiger Cat shotgun. Anderson gets the call. Number 9. And Greg Battle, the Blue Bomber veteran, back in blue and gold for the first time in a couple of years, in on the tackle.
A couple of second down, 8 yards to go.
You know, Archie Amerson, the little running back that they've got playing, they've made a lot of changes at running back, and Amerson is the new addition to the backfield. He actually won the Walter Payton Award when he was in college, which was the Division I AA Heisman Trophy. So the guy can run the football.
He's out of northern Arizona playing his first CFL game in Hamilton tonight. Shotgun for Cavillo on second down. He needs a bounce. He has Thornton. There's a penalty marker down, but Thornton is still rolling down to the 35.
I think you're going to get a pick there, John. I think that Prince Wembley went out and picked the cover guy off of Thornton. I think you're going to get an offensive interference here.
It would have been a 20-yard gain.
No, Wembley was called for illegal motion, I believe.
Procedure, Hamilton number 18. Repeat second down.
Mike Morielli got a jump start that time, and that will nullify a 20-yard gain. Nice looking play.
Yeah, it really was, and that's tough. You know, just when you're not at a great start, you come down, you make a first down, then you get a good completion to your go-to guy, Bert Thornton. I mean, this hurt Hamilton a week ago against Toronto. Some silly penalties, stopped drives, and gave Argonauts good field position. Now, another big penalty early.
And Cavillo is staring at 2nd and 12. Stands in. That one is batted high. And a marker down right on the line.
There's a flag on the play.
That was Tommy Fagan, who's been very impressive for the Blue Bombers, getting a hand on the pass from Anthony Cavillo.
He made the indication. George Black, the referee tonight, made the indication of a chop block. I don't know.
Tripping, Hamilton number 55. Penalties declined, third down.
That's Doug Davies. And the Ticats are set to kick it away.
Well, here's Doug Davies right there, and you be the judge. Somebody gets by him, and whoop, let's get that foot out there. 2 minutes, tripping.
Yeah, I would think he should be in the box. Osbaldiston at his 35. And the block is on. The Bombers have it. Racing toward the end zone is Kelsey Perrin. Milt Stiegel got through and got a hand on the ball. 33 yards, Kelsey Perrin. That's 2 turnovers against Hamilton.
This just seems like sloppy play on the part of Hamilton. They've started off with the interception, and now on special teams, they let 5 guys come clean right up through the middle, and somebody had to block it because there were 5 there to block it.
Well, they just went to an overload right up in there, and watch Stiegel come free. A little juke on the up back, and 27, Donovan Wright absolutely flagged him as he went by, and Winnipeg gets the early touchdown. Second time they've scored points on a turnover. Disastrous start for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Kelsey Perrin, 33 yards for the touchdown after the Stiegel block, and the Bombers are on top by 10 early. It's Friday Night Football live from Hamilton. Bombers lead 10-0 early, and Milt Stiegel a big part of the reason.
Well, he did a nice job to get the block on the kick, but really, you know, who makes the mistake is Donovan Wright, the up back. Watch him. He has to take the first guy that shows up the middle, and watch what happens. I mean, Stiegel just gives him a little juke, and he's gone. And I mean, you've got to block inside out. That's the rule. A guy coming up the middle, you take him first, and don't worry about the outside guy. And he just made a poor judgment on the play.
Westwood's kickoff. Coming down to Aaron Ruffin. Good head of steam for Ruffin. He's out to the 40 and about the 43. Stopped by Kelsey Perrin. Ruffin over from the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And, John, they really needed him because Jason Kaiser was the nickelback, and he pulled a hamstring against Toronto a week ago. And Hamilton likes to use this in three-man rush situations, so they were lucky enough to get Ruffin in. He's a good kick returner, which they needed as well. So he was a pretty handy guy to pluck off the Saskatchewan Roughrider practice roster.
Andrew Grigg, flank to the near side. Three receivers to the far side, top of your screen. Emerson makes the catch. Nice toss over the middle by Anthony Cavillo. Wrapped up by Andrew Henry.
And the defense that Anthony Cavillo will work against tonight is a 3-4 alignment. You see Colin Scribner, Ty Rogers, and Tommy Fagan up front. And 11-year veteran Greg Battle anchors a pretty active linebacking core. And this secondary, they've taken some criticism early. The five of them are terrific athletes. They just need time to play together, to learn how to bump some coverages, because they play a lot of man-to-man, but they are a good group. The numbers don't reflect it right now.
9-yard gain for Emerson. This is 2nd and 1. And Thomas is plenty for the first down. Cats on a bit of a roll. They're out across midfield.
You know, David, I absolutely love the option play because somebody's going to make a mistake. Watch Peoples. As he closes down, all you do is throw the pitch outside, and he can't make the good play. You see, he hesitates, goes to the quarterback, and you're dead in the water, and that's an easy way to pick up the first down.
Tiger Cats now at the Bomber 52. First down. Three receivers. Near side. Right into the hands and out again. Archie Emerson. And it bounced off his chest.
Those are the kind of catches that you have to have as a quarterback. You put the ball on the money, and here's a guy that's struggling just a little bit. Anthony Calvillo trying to make some plays for his team, and he's standing in the pocket, makes a nice delivery, and let's face it, that's a ball he's got to catch. That extends.
Now let me ask you.
Say now.
No, not what you say. Did you give him the look when he came back in the huddle? Like, you do that again, you're not going to see one for about 2 quarters.
Well, he's a rookie, so you're going to slap him on the butt so you get it next time. But if he comes back missing another one, there's definitely a look you have for him.
2nd and 10. Cavillo using the shotgun. Standing in, looking deep. As Thornton couldn't make the catch, but there are flags all over the field.
Don't know who's getting the flag.
Well, you know, to gain a little separation, I saw a push from Bert Thornton. Now, he caught a couple of nice ones like this a week ago against Toronto, and they're going to call the corner Nick Ferguson on the play.
Looks like Prince Wembley is down over on the sideline there by the Hamilton bench.
Forward pass interference. Winnipeg number 33. First down.
It is Nick Ferguson. New to Winnipeg. 6 games in Saskatchewan last year.
You know, here's another situation where if he catches the football, this flag is waved off and it's a touchdown. He just doesn't catch the. Anthony Calvillo makes a great throw into pressure in his face and makes a nice throw.
And that's a good call because the left arm of Nick Ferguson was clearly impeding Bert Thornton as he went down the sidelines. An excellent call by the officials. Back to Prince Wembley. Hamilton is thin at receivers right now. They really don't list anybody other than Andrew Grigg as a backup receiver. This team is a little shy in that department right now, and they better have a little chat with Prince and tell him, hey, 1 or 2 plays catch your breath, but we need you tonight.
Net result, a 27-yard advance for the Tiger Cats. 5 receivers set. Cavillo stands in and looks for 6. Thornton, the intended receiver, he missed by about 5 yards. Ferguson was covering. Let's bring in Gino Retta.
John Wembley was just grabbing the right hamstring right now. He's trying to say, no, it's okay, guys, but they call him off the field. And as Wembley's coming off now, trying to rest that right hamstring, on the field is Shonday Smith, who had missed a couple of offensive drives with a left knee injury. He hurt his left knee early in the first half of play. Had an ice pack on it for about 10 minutes. Now he's back in for the injured Wembley.
And that's all complicated by the fact that Ted Long is out of the lineup for this one with a groin problem. Shonday Smith, just 2 receptions for 4 yards so far. Cavillo. And Smith. And he's right on time. Inside the 10.
Tell you what, he caught a pass over the middle, and most little guys don't like to go in there. He's only 5'6". He comes inside, catches the football, and then he decides he's going to deal out a little punishment here, Lee.
Well, and you know what tonight, Dave? They had to find out if Shunday Smith can play. He only caught 2 balls last week, didn't catch a ball against Toronto. They need some balance on this offense. Thornton can't do it by himself on the other side. They've got to find out tonight if this guy Smith can play.
First and goal to go, Tiger Cats at the Bomber 8. Cavillo has his man. Emerson has his first CFL touchdown. Some Tiger Cat points in the first half.
This is just a little pick play that they run. Most every team has it, where the outside receiver comes in and picks off the slot receiver's cover guy. The slot receiver this time was Archie Emerson, the young running back, and he's already shown his ability to catch the football out of the backfield. Here he catches one and then snakes it in for a touchdown.
That's a great looking drive by Hamilton, and what a shot in the arm that's going to be for them.
Ticats within 3. Archie Emerson playing in his first CFL game out of northern Arizona.
Well, Archie Emerson out to the left of your screen. David Archer called it perfectly. A pick from the wide receiver, and Greg Battle just couldn't get out on Emerson. He couldn't get close to him. You're going to see it right here. Watch Thornton. And Emerson just comes to the outside. That's pretty easy play. Here comes kind of just a little rub. See Thornton there? Not enough to draw any attention from the officials. Pretty heads-up play by the wide receiver. You know, I'll guarantee you, Cavillo on the bench went over to Thornton and said, nice job, because you created the opportunity for Archie Emerson to score a touchdown.
And there were several guys that stepped up in that drive and made some catches. Now, there were a few balls dropped, but Cavillo didn't let it affect him. Of course, the big penalty on Bert Thornton's interference call, but it looked like he kept things together, and that's what Calvillo's got to do. He's the guy leading the show out there. He needs to keep everybody together, continue to distribute the football.
And he is a guy that if his confidence gets up, he can have a hot night. I mean, he can complete a lot of balls.
Dexter Dawson to return for Winnipeg. First time he's had his hands on the ball tonight. Well covered by Ticat special teams. He stopped at the 26th. Nice scoring drive, guys. 7 plays to go 68 yards. And Emerson on the 8-yard reception from Cavillo.
And he made up for the drop.
He really did, and he's no stranger to the end zone. He scored 7 touchdowns in 1 game in college, which is still an NCAA record.
Another marker down. We'll get clarification from George Black.
Somebody from Hamilton's disqualified, and Gonzalo Floyd, number 90, was into it with somebody at midfield, and it looked very, very harmless. And you know, I have to think that it's Floyd that's getting kicked out of the game, and he had a whale of a ball game against Toronto with his pass rush last week. My goodness, it looked very casual. In case I missed something, they were just kind of having a little pushing session at midfield.
Maybe we can go back and see what happened here.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Hamilton, number 36. Disqualification, physical abuse of an official. Hamilton, number 90. First down.
Well, he took a shot at Noga, and the official got it brushed in the way. In Gonzalo Floyd's defense, he was not pushing or hitting the official. He was trying to hit the other player, no excuse. But when the official took one on the arm, he just said, hey, enough of that. They're sensitive to those things, and he threw him out. And this is an enormous loss for the Hamilton defense tonight.
Well, you can't blame an official. He gets in between 2 guys that are about 6'5", 245. They're throwing punches and this and that. They've got to have a little protection. If they get hit, then that's a situation where he's got to keep his poise. I know Don Southern right now would blame him entirely for that situation. Got to keep your poise. You get pushed, there's always pushing going on, a lot of jousting going on throughout a ball game. But you got to keep your poise, because now he's put his defense in a bad situation. Someone has to come in and play his spot now.
Not only field position for this particular drive, but for the rest of the night, where the Tiger Cats aren't terribly deep behind Gonzalo Floyd. They'll have to make some adjustments. Joe Rumolo is the only listed backup along the defensive line, although I guess they could shuffle Younger around.
Yeah, and they have some options where they can go three-man front and some extra linebackers, which, you know, might be the way that they end up going, because Romello is an untested young player. First down, he might be the guy. But
Chris Vargas has 10 points on the board, but he really hasn't had his hands on the football. Early movement coming from the Ticat side of things. Joe Montford was across the line for one.
Offside, Hamilton number 53. Repeat, first down.
Well, you know what? Not only, Dave Archer, do they lose Floyd as a great pass rusher, which you didn't see a week ago, is they lose a secret weapon, because he caught a pass last week on short yardage.
I think that's the least of his talents.
So this hurts the offense,
as
too.
well as the defense. Absolutely. Bombers looking at 1st and 5. Vargas for Baker. He'll get the first down. Nifty little bit of running after he made the catch. And Philbrick finally put him down with Calvin Tiggle in the area as well.
These are the kind of things they need to do with Shalon Baker. Shalon has a great ability to run in the space. He's a great punt returner. Get him out, get some people in front of him, let him do his magic. He's a little guy, very elusive, tough to hang on to. Not off to the start that he would have liked to start it here in '97, but the season is young.
And everyone remembers the rookie year when he caught passes for 1,156 yards for the Eskimos. On first down, they get it to Baker again. And he squirts through for a couple as Baker slips around from his wideout position and takes a handoff in the backfield.
John and Dave, we talked about the adjustment that the Ticats would have to make with Gonzalo Floyd now out of the ballgame. They've chosen to go to a three-man front, so they bring Donovan Wright in. Now, he is kind of a linebacker, defensive back type, so to Winnipeg's credit, hey, they decide to test him right off the bat, and they run a lead play at him, and that's not a bad job. So if they're going to stay in that alignment, Donovan Wright better get that chin strap ready, because they're going to try and run right at him.
Gain of 2, 2nd and 8. Blue Bombers at the Hamilton 29. Vargas throws into the middle, almost picked out. He was looking for Stiegel, and Gerald Vaughn had a chance.
Well, there was no disguise defensively on this play. Hamilton lined up with no free safety in the middle of the field, and we're coming after him all the way. There you see Rob Hitchcock coming right up the middle, and Vargas just made a throw off the back foot and didn't get a lot of velocity on it.
And what I like, Dave, is when they took the safety out of the middle and they did come with the pressure, Justin Ring got in on Vargas, the defensive backs really snugged up and challenged those receivers and gave them no room to run.
Troy Westwood, they'll fake it this time. And Bombers come up with a first down. Greg Battle making the catch on the far side of the field. There is a marker down at the 30.
And what they tried to do was to indicate that Battle was running, trying to get off the field like he shouldn't have been out there, and Hamilton was totally fooled. Now, I don't know how the officials are going to call this, but what a trick play that was on Hamilton. They had no idea.
We have no infraction on the play. First down.
You see, the officials thought that there was too many men and Battle was trying to get off the field. So here in the backfield, here he is right here, and they're saying, hey, get off the field, get off the field. And the officials think there's too many, and Hamilton, look, nobody goes out with him. They just ignore him, and, well, that's a heck of a play and something you work on. And when these things work, this gives the entire team a lift, one of these little peanut trick plays.
Is that a variation of the old sleeper?
Well, I'll tell you who was sleeping was Hamilton.
Bombers 1st and 10 at the Ticat 12 as a result. Williams stumbled as he took the handoff, but still grabbed a couple of yards. Ronald Williams, first-year runner in Winnipeg, spent a little time in BC.
David, tell me, when teams practice this and one of these plays comes off in a game, doesn't it just lift everybody up?
Yeah, this is a huge play, and this is a play that never works in practice. You work on it, and everybody knows what's going on, but it seems to come off perfect in the ball game. Great execution.
And Jeff Reinbold's the kind of coach that has the guts to call it.
And it was the Canadian rifle, Bob Cameron, throwing it.
Absolutely. Acadia quarterback.
Not that time.
And you know
John Baker, the intended receiver. Carter with the coverage.
And Carter is one of the best cover guys in the league. The players know it. The officials know it. And he maybe gets a little extra respect. Because at the top of your screen, he gets away with a lot of hand fighting and fighting through to the football. And maybe some other corners would have got called for interference, but they give him a little more respect, kind of like a Deion Sanders type.
Ooh, you compared him to Deion Sanders. We'll never hear the end of that from Eric.
Sanders isn't too shabby.
Westwood.
He wouldn't mind his salary.
2 for 2. End result the same. The Bombers come away with 3. Lots of fun in the opening quarter at Ivor Wynn in Hamilton. More tomorrow night at Taylor Field, Regina. Argos Rough Riders. Don Narcisse tries to keep that consecutive game pass-catching streak intact. He's at 164. Boone over Ivor Wynn. Anybody write a song about that? Likely not.
What they're doing with the scatter formation is they're making it confusing for the kickoff return team to pick up their cover guy. So it's they're scattering and trying to confuse the blocking scheme.
Steinauer returning for the Tiger Cats. And he's bulldogged out of bounds on the far side by Doug Hocking. Cavillo with a nice sequence last time that led to a Ticat touchdown. 4 of 7 for 46. Much better numbers than he had in the first half against the Argos last Sunday.
You know, in fairness to Anthony Cavillo, he's in a new offensive situation compared to the ones he's been in the last couple of years. He's been in a wide open attack, a run and shoot attack over the last 2 years. Now he comes back and he's in kind of a 2-back attack. Very difficult to adjust to a different style of offense, and he's doing a good job in this ball game.
And not to mention all the new receivers that he has in this lineup. Procedure call likely. Here's Thomas escaping, but Mark is done.
And again, these mental mistakes are just killing Hamilton. Andrew Grigg just totally ignored the snap count. Second time he's had a legal procedure. I mean, he was 5 yards
procedure.
downfield.
Hamilton number 89.
There's nothing.
Repeat first down.
I mean, goodness gracious, as a wide receiver, if you forget the snap count, the rule is look inside and just watch the football.
Well, there's nothing more irritating to a coach, let alone a quarterback, than for a wide receiver to be offsides who's lined up 45 yards from a running play, and he's not even going to be a part of it.
It'll be 1st and 15, and the Tiger Cats now have 7 penalties, costing 65 yards. That didn't fool anyone as Marcus Thomas is wrapped up right in the Tiger Cat backfield. This play worked a couple of times against the Argos last week.
Well, Tyrone Rogers, watch him right on the nose read this. He is right there on the draw. It doesn't fool him at all. Swim technique over Doug Davies to center. And the running back, Marcus Thomas, absolutely has no chance. I mean, they watched the film this week, and they were ready for that play.
Now 2nd and 17. Cavillo looks to take off, and there's lots of running room available. He'll have the first down. Took a pretty good hit. Brandon Hamilton. But Cavillo has a first down for the Tiger Cats.
Perfect situation, Dave, to run as a quarterback when you see what happens downfield.
Pure man coverage downfield, and of course there's no cover guy for the quarterback. Calvillo recognizes that, pulls it down, and nothing but daylight. Defensive backs are running with their back to you. I think Anthony might want to get down right there and slide.
That's where you get the feet down first and slide a little bit. Here's Gino.
John, you guys were just talking about that the Bombers are now using the swim technique. Just a few minutes ago, Jeff Reinbold, of course, the head coach, who his defense is his first love. Brought his defensive lineman aside and said, guys, let's start using that swim technique in there. When they're in the shotgun, blow by these guys. You know they're not going to run the ball. Well, obviously, it just hurt them there because they blew right by. Cavillo saw the hole and went for it. The one downside of using that swim technique of getting so aggressive on the shotgun is you leave yourself susceptible to the run.
Well, Cavillo had a good fourth quarter against the Argonauts when he ran a little bit last week. You mentioned earlier that he is the leading rusher on this Hamilton team. Tommy Fagan is the injured Blue Bomber, and he's in a great deal of pain.
Well, we go back and see if we can see. Here's Tommy Fagan lined up at the top of your screen, and we'll see what happens. They're initially being taken on by Val St. Germain. He runs into his own player. So often happens to a defensive lineman. Your own player makes contact with you.
You know, it's amazing how you see all these guys playing the offensive and defensive lines and have these long careers. You know, you talk about Miles Garrell and Chris Walby come to mind. Guys that played years and years in the offensive line, and the beating their legs take, the leg whips, the tripping, the situation there where you're diving to try to block somebody or may come up with a tackle and somebody cuts you from underneath. Just takes a special breed of player to play in the trenches like that.
It sure wasn't me.
You weren't a trench guy.
I was not a trench guy. Trench coat.
Coming into this game tonight against Winnipeg, the Tiger Cats had only scored 5 points in the opening 3 quarters of both ball games. That's total. In the fourth quarter, they've done well. They've scored 27 compared to 0 for the opposition, but as a result, there were 2 losses.
I guess if Hamilton's tied tonight going into the third quarter or fourth quarter, they're in pretty good shape.
Yeah. Find a bookie and get some money down. Harry Von Hopwagen will come in relief of Tommy Fagan. Fagan has a very serious injury to his right knee.
Yeah, to the left of your screen, here's Tommy Fagan, and if you have a weak stomach, I suggest you turn away because he's going to get his knee hyperextended when his own player rolls over it right there, and that is not a pretty sight. And we just hope that it's just worse than it appears, or it's worse than it's going to be for Tommy Fagan, but I don't like the look of that, the way he's leaving the field.
The best thing about it is it looks like he's putting a little pressure on the leg, and obviously we were on a hedge on the injury, but the hyperextension, that's a tough situation. Hopefully he's got some flexibility there.
Before the injury timeout, Anthony Cavillo carried for a first down. Anderson on the option. And Battle led the Blue Bomber tacklers that time.
Well,
Los Angeles, doesn't he?
Well, you know, after 11 years, it's so much fun to watch the enthusiasm that he plays with. And, you know, again, they try to run the option. They had success early, but here's Battle, and just watch. I mean, he comes like he's shot out of a cannon. Reads option right away. The feet are moving, and he knows he's going to get help on the quarterback, so he just goes directly for the pitch man.
Still great against the run, Greg Battle, who started his career in Winnipeg. Second down. Cavillo has Thomas, but he needed a bunch of yards. Second and 13, and Shante Peoples wrapped him up on the final play of the opening quarter. Pretty good ball game brewing in Hamilton. Lots more ahead as we send you back to Friday night's Football Control.
Friday night football tonight.
Friday Night Football, live at the quarter, is brought to you by Midas for new, longer-lasting carbon metallic brake pads.
And welcome back to Friday Night Football Control. Rod Smith along with Obi, Les, and Marty. And, you know, during his CFL days, Les Brown was never known to pull any punches, at least talking about the officiating. I can tell you in here he is hot over the decision to kick Gonzalo Floyd out of this game.
You know, this is a contact sport. Football is a contact sport. And I understand the referees have a serious, tough job to do out there, but this is ridiculous. If you're going to be in a contact sport, you expect a little bit of contact. You see here, they're pushing and shoving. Gonzalo Floyd gets the worst of it. He reaches around this ref on the other side, right here, on the other side of this ref, and shoves the guy opposite him, right? They disqualify him for that.
You know what,
He's out of the game. An important fixture in the Hamilton defense is gone because of that.
Les, it's just such a typical player's mentality. I mean, hit anybody you want. If somebody gets in the way, too bad. Let me just tell you, I agree with what David Archer said. These officials are getting paid maybe $150 a game. They're not there to get hit.
Marty, this is a contact sport. Can you see a hockey referee getting hit like that and then saying, oh, man, you're out of the game?
That's a different story.
There'd be no more hockey players left to play.
The only thing I'd have to say is that when we saw the replay and you saw Gonzalo Floyd getting pushed around late, then what happened was he retaliated, and it always happens. The guy that retaliates always gets called, and in this case, he brushed the official, and the official threw him out.
Hey, guys, how about the trick play by Reinbold? We said that he'd be doing some of that this year. That was a great play, putting Battle out there like that. That's the old sleeper.
It wasn't all that great. It was just done by Hamilton, not looking at it and just going and protecting.
You're going to see Reinbold do that kind of stuff from time to time, though, and catch people by surprise.
Well, right now, Les is in a bad mood, and I imagine Hamilton is the way things are going with special teams and turnovers, so we'll argue this out until the half. It's at back to Ivor Wynne Stadium now, guys.
Les hates officials.
And we'll begin the fourth quarter on a warm night in Hamilton. Pretty pictures from Ivor Wynne Stadium, and the Bombers on top by 6 at 13-7, and Paul Osbaldiston ready to punt on third down from his 40.
Yeah, I'm going to watch Donovan Wright, the up-back, see if he picks out the right guy.
One was blocked earlier, and it cost Hamilton a touchdown. Shalon Baker returning for Winnipeg. Looks to the outside. No way. 46-yard punt. Marker down near the 20. Ticats with 6 first downs compared to 2 for the Blue Bombers. Turnover's a big part of the story, and sometimes time of possession, Dave, doesn't mean everything to you.
Winnipeg number 88.
Not necessarily.
First down.
This is a situation where... Go ahead, Leaf.
Well, I was just going to say, how about that? I mean, you're leading 13-7, and you only have 34 yards of offense. Tells you turnovers were the big factor in that quarter.
Well, what it does say, though, is the way that Anthony Calvillo is conducting his offense. They've had the ball for almost 11 minutes, means he's taking care of the ball, moving it down the field, had the 1 interception.
So you're saying this should all equal out sooner or later?
Yes, it will.
All right. I just wanted to establish that.
Penalty on the return against Graham of Winnipeg, and more flags down as Vargas tries to get the offense rolling out there.
And we asked George Black before the game tonight to have a quick one. He didn't listen.
Offside, Hamilton number 53. Repeat first down.
Well, this is the second time Montfort's been called for offside, but we saw this 2 weeks ago when we did the Toronto-Winnipeg game, and Vargas was pulling Toronto's defenders off with the staggered count, the hard count.
Boy,
2 counts and then a delay and then the hard count. He's pulling people offside.
First and 5 for Winnipeg now. Ronald Williams has better than 5 yards.
And I guess
Brent McNeil.
Sorry, John. I guess when you look at this situation, too, where you had Winnipeg backed up to their own 8-9 yard line, you have an enormous opportunity to pin them deep in their own territory. And for Urban Bowman, the defensive coordinator for Hamilton, I mean, little silly penalties like that drive you nuts. Winnipeg able to keep it on the ground, get a first down, and now they have some breathing room.
Out at the 20 with a first down, Winnipeg. Ronald Williams nailed in the backfield.
Well, one of the subtle changes Hamilton made to their lineup this week was to bring Jermaine Younger back into the lineup and replace Frank West at the linebacking spot because they felt like Winnipeg was going to try and run the ball more, so they needed more beef at linebacker. Well, Younger fits that bill. He shoots the gap, and he's right in on Williams, so they're getting what they want early from that change in personnel.
That makes this 2nd and 13 for Vargas. He has Stiegel, and that'll be a Winnipeg first down out across the 35. Grabbed by Gerald Vaughn. Stiegel, the only receiver back among the Blue Bomber starters this year.
Gerald Vaughn, a very physical defensive back, likes to get a hit on you. He's just forcing him to the inside, but there was no help, and a good catch by Stiegel. We watched him in the warm-up. he dropped about 8 balls in a row, and I said, boy, is he in for a rough night, but now he comes out and makes a nice catch.
Baker to the near side with 2 other receivers. Vargas rolling to his right. Looking for Boyko. That's Alan Boyko. And Wilhite was there covering number 26 for the Tiger Cats.
A near interception by Kenny Wilhite, and this is Kenny's strength. Kenny does a great job of anticipating the break angle to intercept the pass. Vargas does a good job of a good play fake, sucks everybody inside, including Monfort. Gets to the outside. Now watch Wilhite wait till the last minute and then break inside. Kenny has a knack for that. There's certain defensive backs. Eric Potter has that. Kenny felt like he should have come up with that, but all DBs are frustrated receivers. They can't catch that.
They do have terrible hands as a group, don't they?
2nd and 10. Vargas under the cover. What a great catch. Stiegel across the 50-yard line. And Milt Stiegel stretched out and grabbed that one, but it may come back.
Major foul, face mask, Winnipeg number 62. Repeat, 2nd down.
I don't know what it is about two teams that struggle. These two teams have been struggling a little bit to start off the season. It seems like the referees find more penalties in these situations. You know, Toronto were playing in this game. They don't seem to find as many penalties, although they did in the first week. But this is a situation where it just seems you get something going. I thought that was Vargas's best throw of the game. Threaded the needle just past West for the completion to Stiegel. Stiegel makes a nice catch, but call back.
And you look at the net loss. I mean, you have the infraction and the catch. I mean, you're talking 35 yards.
Chris Perez will be thinking about it for a while as the Bombers now face 2nd and 25. Vargas throwing on the run, far side. No catch. Ted Alford was the intended receiver. And they needed 25 yards on the play. So he was nowhere close.
Well, the top of the field. This is just good situational coverage by Steinauer. No way he's going to let Alford get behind him for the first down. Steinauer knows where the first down marker is, keeps everything in front of him, and then when he runs the out, comes up and makes the play. But I mean, that's intelligent play by the secondary.
Bob Cameron standing back near his 5-yard line. High, towering punt away. Kenny Wilhite across the 40, out near the 43 where the Tiger Cats will scrimmage 1st and 10 after a 53-yard punt.
Friday night football tonight.
Bombers and the Tiger Cats, great old rivals in the Canadian Football League from the Grey Cup years back in the 50s and 60s. Last year they were in opposite divisions. This year they're back in the same division, fighting for points in the CFL East. Cavillo on 1st down.
Well, these are the situations. There's no disguise in what Winnipeg's trying to do on defense. They're just coming after him from the jump, Lee.
Well, they really are, and I think Cavillo knows it. I mean, you've got 7 guys coming on this pass rush, 8 guys coming, and Cavillo sees it. He's willing to take the hit to try and make the strike, but you are going to get some opportunities against this defense. You just got to hit a few. Greg Battle coming, puts the hit. Andrew Henry, everybody. But sooner or later, Hamilton's probably going to get a big play as a result of this.
Cavillo missed Smith this time for Thornton. And he's very close to a 1st down. Shannon Garrett wrapped him up. We'll see where they spot the ball. What do you think, about a yard?
He's short. He's definitely short.
It's no secret to me that Hamilton has watched Winnipeg on film. They've diagnosed that defense, and it's going to be a lot of man-to-man, a lot of blitz. And they have run a whole lot of rub and pick routes here in the first half. And that's a great way to play against man-to-man coverage.
That's Shorts.
And Bert Thornton really has been the key go-to guy for Anthony Cavillo against the Argonauts. Made a couple of spectacular long catches. Well, and this was against no slouch either. This is Adrian Smith, a terrific one-on-one cover guy, but you know, Bert Thornton just makes a super play.
4 for 93 yards against the Argos last week. Third down. Less than a yard to go for the Tiger Cats. Cavillo himself. No markers down. Tiger Cats will advance the ball.
First down, Tiger Cats.
Looked like they got a bit of an early surge there, but
As long as everybody's going at the same time, John, they're not going to call that.
Had a nice straight formation.
That's right. You know, I'm a bit surprised, Leaf, that we haven't seen from the Toronto game 2 weeks ago how successful Toronto was with the crossing route. We haven't seen any of that, the short underneath crossing route from Cavillo.
That's funny. They would have had to put that in because it's really not part of Hamilton's system, but I agree. It's a great plays against Winnipeg.
Cavillo escaping. And a step out of bounds. Dwayne Knight pushed him, and Rogers chased him out. Fans are a little upset that maybe there was a little extra force used along the line.
Well, and look at all the folks again coming for Winnipeg, right up the middle. Big pressure. Ty Rogers, rather.
Went into the wall here. He was still within the white stripes.
Second down, about 14 yards to go.
I still think that they need to use that short crossing route. The linebackers are vacating. There's a huge hole in there they could really exploit.
I agree, but it's something that they haven't shown in their offense this year, and I don't think they have it in their package this week.
Second and 14. Cavillo flushed out again and dragged down from behind near the 50. George Noga was there that time.
And George Noga, converted linebacker to really essentially the rush end in this 3-4 alignment. He is at the top of the screen, and this is a good, solid pass rush. He's come close about 3 plays in a row, and finally he cuts underneath Pete Shorts. A good spin move to the inside, and he gets the sack on Cavillo. That's a nice speed move to spin to the inside, get the tackle going one way, and George Noga, in a short period of time, looks like he's turned into a pretty good rush end.
Osbaldiston will punt to Salon Baker. He had one blocked earlier, had to rush this one. It's short. Markers down as Baker tries to turn the corner. And a 30-yard punch with no return sets the Bombers up near their 30-yard line.
Friday Night Football on TSN is brought to you in part by Midas for new, longer-lasting carbon metallic brake pads.
Don Southern's Tiger Cats looking for win number 1. Some thoughts on defense. I think they've played well. On his offense, we've got to pull up our socks. He just says them. I guess he doesn't write them. Vargas gets his first down to Stiegel.
I guarantee you half his offense didn't understand that one, so they didn't get anything out of it anyway.
Man of few words this week. I think he's feeling a little bit of the heat, trying to figure out what to do with this Tiger Cat offense. It's looked much better in the first half tonight. The Bombers, first down. Vargas looks deep and too far. Stiegel. He only has eyes for 86.
Well, Stiegel just showed
35.
what kind of speed he's got, because he ran right by Rob Hitchcock's lined up about 20 yards deep in the secondary and backpedaling at the snap, and Stiegel just ran right by him.
And I think even though you don't complete some of those, they're good purpose patterns and plays just to say, hey, look, don't start crowding up too much because we are going to go over the top, and you kind of plant a seed with that throw even though you don't complete it.
Stiegel has 2 receptions for 33 yards thus far. Vargas faces 2nd and 10 at the Ticat 51. Rolling on the run. He's got Boyko. Had one hand on it. Couldn't bring it in.
That's one he's got to catch right there. Chris will probably blame himself for not putting it on the money, but I think that's a catch that Boyko would say he needs to come up with, and that's a huge play. There really hasn't been much done offensively by Winnipeg.
And Joe Paopao, the offensive coordinator, knows that they got the good matchup. They got Boyko in behind Rob Hitchcock. He bid up, and really, I don't know why he used one hand.
No,
Stick 2 hands out there and secure the catch. I mean, this is a touchdown, and Chris Vargas knows that they need all the help they can get, and especially when you get a free one like that, you've got to make the play. And Joe Powell, that's frustrating because you get the matchup, and you don't get them that often, and he got what he wanted, and he missed it.
Cameron from the 45. Nice kick by Cameron. There'll be no return on the far side of the field. Steinauer was ready to return. Well, Reinbold wasn't in charge. The Bombers have won 8 of their last 10 games here in Hamilton and outscored the Tiger Cats by a bunch. That was then, and this is now.
And there's not a whole lot of players on this team other than Bob Cameron and Troy Westwood that probably remember that.
Cameron has been around forever.
You know, Reinbold's getting the kind of play out of his defense that he had envisioned at the beginning of the season. They're creating havoc in the backfield, giving Calvillo very brief looks at open receivers, so it really causes some problems.
Calvillo and the Cats first down at the 19. Emerson. And Archie Emerson making an impression in his first start.
And David Archer all of a sudden is extremely excited in the booth tonight because finally Hamilton has gone to a crossing pattern where they cross Emerson and Mike Morielli, and has a little confusion in the linebacking core, and they get 9 yards. A terrific play on first down, sets you up nicely. Now Winnipeg is not sure whether you're going to run or throw, so you're now happy.
Yeah, and I like what they're doing with Emerson. They're using him as a receiver. He obviously has the skills to run with the football. They're getting him in space and letting him run.
Bombers were a man short, so they forced that penalty marker.
And Hamilton doesn't mind.
Harry.
Offside, Winnipeg number 34, first down.
Harry Van Hoflagen was a little slow to get out onto the field.
Well, that last throw Calvillo came with is the kind of throws that I envision he needs to make. I think he needs a C coverage. If they're up close, get to that crossing route, get the ball out of there.
First down, Calvillo. Bumped once and twice, but there was a flag already down in the backfield. A procedure call here. Let's count up the penalties, George Cootie, and see how many we have.
I think the battery just wore out in his calculator.
Procedure, Hamilton number 64.
You know, I know you got to call them, and when they're evident like that, you have to. But boy, does it slow the game down.
It does slow the game down, but I think that it really gets to the ire of the two head coaches. And these two coaches are sticklers for doing things the right way, and penalties are not doing things the right way.
Total of 13. Here's Calvillo on first and 15, running for his life now. Nailed from behind. Tyrone Rogers and George Milga ran down the Ticat quarterback. Somebody's hurt down there, and it's not the quarterback. Those guys are tough.
Yeah, they're tough guys. See Rogers come up and deliver a shot here on Calvillo. Calvillo tries to escape, looking for something to happen downfield. Nobody seems to come and help him, and then he knocks Ty Rogers out with his back.
But Tyrone Rogers right now with the swim technique, the second time he's been able to do it, is absolutely controlling the center, Doug Davies, and it's no match right now. Keep your eye on 91 and 55, because 91's winning most of the battles right in the middle.
This is second down and too many to count. Long toss for Thornton, and he draws a flag. Nick Ferguson a little upset that there's a marker down and he's being fingered. You like the call?
Yeah, it's a good call, and the reason it's a pass interference is because Calvillo made a poor throw.
Winnipeg number 33, first down.
That's the toughest thing. I mean, it was an awful throw, and as Thornton slowed down to adjust to the football, Nick Ferguson couldn't, and he just kind of ran into him and created the contact. You see it right there.
Yeah, the ball's underthrown.
No question the hand is in early, and that, I mean, Ferguson the second time, he is a hands kind of corner, and he's always got one in there, and when the hand is out exposed like that, the officials are going to see it and call it. Got to be a little more subtle.
36-yard penalty. Cavillo has it wide open on the far side. Worked a little more open than that. He decided to go for about a 5-yard run on first down.
You know what you like about this, though, is Ash Smith comes back in and makes a block on a huge lineman coming out. And Ash is only, what is he, 5'6", about 170 pounds. You'll see him come from the top of your screen.
Yeah, it's a great fake to hold everybody and give Smith credit. There's Noga 50. Watch this.
Now, he doesn't do any damage to him, but he gets in his way.
But let me tell you, the players on the field saw it, and here it comes again. And yes, he didn't crush anybody, but in the film session tomorrow, he's going to get a big attaboy for doing that.
He is 5'6", 170 pounds on 2nd and 5, wide open. Andrew Craig and another marker down, this time in the Blue Bombers secondary. Penalty against the Bombers. Ticats are getting a little bit of help on this drive.
Illegal contact with an eligible receiver. Winnipeg number 5.
I think this is a result of how much time they've spent on the field. Hamilton's been on the field offensively the entire game, which means Winnipeg's defense has been on the game the whole time. And I think they're wearing down a little bit. They're pretty aggressive. They run around the field, and that time we didn't have much of a pass rush, Leaf, that time, and allowed him Drigg to get open.
Well, Winnipeg has made some changes on defense. They brought Dexter Dawson, number 5, in, who was called, and they've gone to the nickelback system, so they're not rushing as many.
On first down, another marker. Thomas, number 33, Marcus Thomas, made the catch. This may be against the Tiger Cats. Looks like a holding call.
Holding, Hamilton number 25. Repeat first down.
That's on Lee Knight.
Well, again, this game is just deteriorating with all these silly mistakes. Lee Knight at the bottom of your screen right there.
First and 20. Cavillo stands in. Fired for Knight. Through his hands. It'll flip to 2nd and 20. Knight started last week, but he's in a backup role this week with Archie Amerson added to the offense at running back alongside Marcus Thomas.
We saw Lee get caught for holding on that play before. I don't know why you would want your running back blocking one of their premier pass rushers anyway. You know, that's
always been a mystery to me why you put your fullback in that kind of an awful position.
Cavillo looks at 2nd and 20. Another marker down as Cavillo slides near the 25-yard line and draws another penalty. He's taken some hits tonight. Cavillo made 15 yards on the play. He's short of the first down. He's also down and out for the time being.
Well, this isn't good here for the Hamilton Ticats because Calvillo is the only person at quarterback that has any experience on this Ticat ball club. Mike Cawley is their backup quarterback, and he's a rookie and only played in the preseason.
There's Mike Cawley, who will be pressed into service. We'll take a break while they attend to Hamilton's #1 quarterback, Anthony Cavillo. It's Friday Night Football. Took a big hit from Winnipeg defensive back Nick Ferguson.
Well, you're going to see it right here. This is the intent. I mean, he is sliding down, and I mean, that is so close. It's really tough to call what the intent was. Watch the head right here. Boom. I mean, it just bounces off the turf. And, you know, I think had Cavillo maybe indicated that he was going to hook slide just a fraction sooner, you know, players maybe would have eased off. No, serious.
Did you see this now?
He's not going to run over anybody.
He's walking to the sidelines, guys, with a big-time headache, and somebody comes by and slaps him on the side of the helmet. Didn't see who did it, just a hand stuck in there. Here's Mike Cawley at quarterback for Hamilton. Thomas gets the call on first down. Ticats are inside the 15 to begin with, and now at about the 9. Anthony Cavillo being talked to at the Ticat bench. You're watching Friday Night Football on TSN. Mike Collian at quarterback for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, seeing his first action for real in the Canadian Football League. Kicked around the NFL a little bit with the Colts and the Falcons last year. Briefly. Saw a little bit of duty in the preseason, but hasn't thrown a pass as a professional quarterback in the CFL. This will be the first one. He gets it away. Griggs, the intended receiver, and it hung up for a second after being batted away. Griggs couldn't react to the ball. Henry and Knight covering.
I'll tell you what happened to him there. He was just late throwing the ball. This is a well-designed play. He gets outside the rush, looks in the end zone. Griggs is there, but he's just late delivering the ball. Couldn't get his. It's tough for a quarterback, a right-handed quarterback, going to his left to get the shoulders square downfield and get the ball off. Doug Flutie, one of the best at rolling left and throwing down the field. He just couldn't get his shoulders square to get the ball
He looked very
off.
awkward as he went to his left to throw that football.
Bombers on top, 13-7. Paul Osbaldiston tries to narrow the gap to 3. In by Greg, 15-yard chip shot field goal, and he pulled it wide.
That is a mental error. I mean, that is a kick you can do in your sleep. There was a good snap, good hold. I mean, nobody feels worse than Paul Osbaldiston or his coach. But that is a mental error. That's a freebie, 3 points.
Well, you talk about taking the wind out of your sails. Here's a great drive. They drive down the field, put themselves in position for 6. They don't get 6, so they know they're going to get 3. Looks like it's a decent hold. Would like to have the thread straight ahead for a kicker. They're pretty screwy about that. You know, you held a little bit.
I know I did. I held David, and you know what the rule of thumb was when it was that close? They said, just get it on the tee. Don't you ever worry about laces, because it's not going to be long enough to worry.
Certainly one he thought he should have made, I'm sure.
2:45 to go till halftime. Bombers 1st and 10. Vargas has Alford far side. He's a little shy of the first down. Wrapped up by Orlando Steinauer.
Second down, a yard to go.
About a yard shy of a first down. Winnipeg on top, 13-8. Anthony Cavillo resting at the Tiger Cat bench after taking a hit and bashing his helmet into the turf. We'll get a medical report on his status as we progress. 2nd and 1, Ronald Williams. And he doesn't have it by much.
It's a very generous spot there for Thursday.
I thought it was. Looked like Justin Ring had him in the backfield, and a little twist and turn by Ronnie Williams picked up that first down barely.
Only 1 point scored in the 2nd quarter. Vargas first down. Alford again for about 6, maybe 7 yards.
And here's where Vargas has to get up on the line of scrimmage. Look at the sideline. Pow's calling the plays, giving a signal. He's got 2:04 to go. Plenty of time to get some points and add to your 13-8 lead. Joe's giving him a signal. He's calling all the plays.
Baker makes the catch. He'll have the first down.
See, I don't like that situation, Leaf. I think that's a situation where you'd like to have your quarterback calling the shots. He's in the flow of the game. This was my favorite time of the game. I think this is when you see the Doug Fluties, the Matt Dunnigans do some of the things that they did so terrific. They're making their own calls, adjusting the flow of the game.
Bombers now at the Ticat 52. Vargas has a nice run going here. That was Milt Stiegel.
And here's the signal coming in.
Joe Pow sending in a little advice.
First down, Winnipeg.
What does that mean?
Bake your cake as quick as you can.
Roll it.
That means find a guy and throw it to him. Now, I think you got to, as a quarterback, you have a feel for who's breathing hard on the other side of the ball. You see who's tired.
Chris Vargas is too young for that, David. He needs help.
Vargas seems to be doing all right here. Williams takes it sliding out of the backfield with 1:34 till halftime.
You know what? In principle, Dave, I don't disagree with you at all. If it was an experienced quarterback like Flutie, a David Archer, a Damon Allen, Jeff Garcia, Chris Vargas at this stage, Joe Pow knows the plays that are best to call in these situations, and I don't disagree with this. I know what you're saying. You want to be the guy, and 2-minute drill is fun to run, but I think this is a different situation than Vargas is in.
He's looking at 2nd and 2. Williams has plenty for a first down, crashing across the 30 and met by Joe Montford.
Well, you certainly can't argue with the way they're moving the football. He's bang, bang, throwing the ball outside, inside, dumping the ball off, mixing the run in, eating up the clock, doing a good job. So Joe's doing a good job calling plays.
Yeah, and the key is, as soon as the ball is down, Vargas is looking. They're not wasting time doing this.
Near side this time. Vargas has Baker. Baker has a first down. Forced out by Gerald Vaughn.
And you know what is happening is Pow's not telling him who to throw the ball to. He's distributing the ball extremely well. This is all Chris Vargas once the ball snapped. He's having to make the decisions on where the ball goes to certain receivers, and he's done a great job in this drive.
An excellent drive. And another 15-yard gain for the Bombers. 1:19 till the half. Bombers with a first down. They're at the Hamilton 12-yard line. Vargas swings it to the back out of the backfield. That's Williams, and he's strung out. Face mask could be the call with flags coming down in that area. Few penalties tonight. Ticats had a little assistance on their last drive.
Major foul, face mask, Hamilton number 50, first down.
That's Jermaine Younger.
I played with Jermaine in Ottawa. Very aggressive, loves to hit. This time he gets a little too aggressive.
I don't know too many linebackers that don't like to hit. They're crazy.
Sort of the nature of the beast.
That's true.
They are scary.
What a great drive that Vargas has engineered here. Williams again, and he gets the touchdown. Ronald Williams appeared to be stopped at the 1-yard line. Extra effort, little momentum, carried him through. And the Bombers have their first offensive touchdown of the night.
You need to really credit that big group up front. They did a great job of protecting Vargas throughout the drive. And when they did run the football, they got a lot of positive out of it.
A nice job leading up through Bruce Boyko. Brett McNeil pulls the left guard, and from the 5-yard line on the goal line, that's a heck of a good short yardage play to get 5 yards in the touchdown. And that is a super 2-minute drill that they did in about a minute.
Still 1:05 to go in the second quarter. A very impressive drive, and running back Ronald Williams was a big part of it. Winnipeg on top of the Tiger Cats, 20-8.
Pretty solid blocking. When you can run 5 yards in goal line situations, you've done a nice job. The left guard, Brett McNeil, comes. Bruce Boyko, 14, comes, and Ron Williams hangs just enough to let the blocking form. Watch him hesitate right there. Now he accelerates up through the hole, takes on Rob Hitchcock on the goal line. You're going to have to run over somebody to get in there, and Hitchcock, a very strong 210-pounder, and Ronnie Williams did it and capped off a nice drive.
You know, we saw Ronnie Williams do that 2 weeks ago against Toronto. I think he does a great job of what I call pressing the hole. It may not have developed yet, but he stays patient and allows his offensive lineman to create the crease. And then once he sees the crease, he's north and south. Really a strong runner within the tackle gap.
And that's exactly what he did. I mean, at 5'10", 210 pounds, he's got the good body strength to do that. But what I like is he had the patience to let the play develop and then accelerate.
Anthony Cavillo won't be on the field when the Tiger Cats get the ball back here. Steinauer for the Tiger Cats. Less than a minute to go till halftime. And the Tiger Cats will have to go without their #1 quarterback, at least for the time being. Mike Colley comes in. A scoring drive there to this guy, Chris Vargas. 10 plays to go, 75 yards. And you were talking about the time it took, 1:40.
And you talk, I mean, that's a quick drive to go 10 plays, 1:40. That is maximizing the 2-minute drill. And for a young quarterback to have 10 good plays, that is awesome.
Yeah, you can look in his eyes right now, and you can see the confidence that he's exuding right now. That comes from being on the field, making the plays.
Just a little excited down there. Colley hands out to Anderson. Gonzalo Floyd left the ball game early.
And you know, I don't think there's any coincidence that in the second quarter the Ticats had not had much of a pass rush on Chris Vargas. On that 2-minute drill, they really had little or none. And Gonzalo Floyd, when he was tossed from this game for abuse of an official, that has really hurt the Ticats.
2nd and 5 as Colley looks to the far side. Dangerous toss out there. Brandon Hamilton was in the area.
I think he wanted Morreale on the out there, which would have given him a first down, but watching that throw is evident why Sudsy didn't want to go to a hurry-up offense. He wanted to make sure he minimized his losses and maybe had Osbaldiston kick this thing out of there and get out of the half. But in the situation they're in now.
But kicking has been scary for Hamilton. Milt Stegall blocked the punt. It was recovered for a touchdown. And this is the area you have to watch. Watch those 2 upbacks, because Winnipeg's been overloading the middle over the center and trying to get a mismatch.
Stegall blocked 1. It cost the Ticats a touchdown. He was close on another occasion.
And they're coming.
Osbaldiston for Baker. Not much of a play there. 27 seconds remaining. So the Ticats only took about 30 seconds off that clock.
Well, that's the beauty of this game. If you don't take care of the football and get first downs, the other team's going to have it coming right back at you. That's what's always been great about the CFL. If you leave, somebody's going to score a couple times on you. Don't watch out.
David,
I was fired up.
I was at home watching the game from Montreal the other night, and I had a friend of mine from New York watching the game with me, and I said, watch this 2-minute drill, because this could be the longest part of the game you've ever seen, because he's so used to NFL. I said, this can be an eternity, and he was just amazed at how long it can last.
Bombers on first down from the 40. Baker. And out of bounds. Right near midfield. 21 seconds till halftime. Gino?
It's not good for Anthony Cavillo. He is gone for the rest of the game. He walked off. He said he actually blacked out. And that was his 2nd concussion of the game. He actually got hit when he got sacked earlier in the half. Got a minor concussion at that point. Was actually knocked unconscious this time he was hit. He is gone for the game.
Vargas has Baker again. Away from 1. And Diggle finally drags him down. 20-8, the Bombers leading Hamilton. 18 seconds on the clock. They're in Westwood range.
And you can feel the uneasiness of the crowd here at Ivor Wynne Stadium. This is too easy right now. A touchdown off 2-minute drill, and now 2 plays, and they're certainly within field goal range.
That one is batted down. Free ball for a moment. Joe Montford didn't see it.
That was a big play by the defensive line there, because Vargas had Milt Stegall open in the seam, which would have been another 10, 12-yard pickup. So the defensive line got the hands in the air and knocked the football down and allowed the defense to regroup here a little bit.
Now 10 seconds to the half. Bomber offense a little slow to ignite, but Vargas has done a great job. Last couple of times he's had his hands on the football. Far side, Alford makes the catch. It'll be another first down. And what's more, inside the 25-yard line.
And that is a pretty soft defense, soft secondary play by Hamilton in this 2-minute. I mean, they're just letting Alford and Shalon Baker have all kinds of room on the outside. These are easy passes to complete, and I mean, I really think that they have to come up and challenge a little more. This is just like saying, hey, if you can get it out to your guy, we're going to let him catch it, and you can go ahead and have a field goal.
Well, you certainly wouldn't expect that to the short side of the field. You expect him to roll the corner up and get the halfback deep third there and take away the short pass. But in this situation, they just wanted to concede the 3 and get off the field.
Troy Westwood hitting on 80% of his field goals coming into this night. And he's on target again here at Ivor Wynn. 1 second unofficially till halftime. So the Bombers put up 10 points in the final 2 minutes.
Well, the Anthony Calvillo injury obviously has taken a lot of wind out of the sails of the whole team. Calvillo went down at about the 20-25 yard line of the Winnipeg Blue Bomber team, and from then on they really haven't done much.
And in the middle of a pretty impressive drive that Calvillo had going.
Yes, he'd moved the ball extremely well throughout the ball game. The points don't really reflect it, but they had moved the football. He distributed the ball pretty well, shown some confidence. But now somebody's going to have to drag young Colley off to the side and say, listen, this is the CFL, and this game is only a half gone. There's a lot of football.
You know what, Dave, that's just an excellent observation. The Ticats are just moping around right now, and you saw Jeff Reinbold. Winnipeg is high. They're saying, hey, we can smell win number 1, and Hamilton looks totally out of sync and deflated right now.
Anthony Calvillo will not be back, according to our reports from the Tiger Cat bench, so it'll be up to the backup to get the Tiger Cats back in this one. Here with Friday Night Football on TSN, it's the Bombers in the lead at halftime.
Okay, Mac.
Welcome back to CFL Live at the Half. Boy, the Ticats are being turned blue by Winnipeg tonight. And, you know, in the early going, it wasn't so much that Bomber offense doing it. It was special teams back with Bob Obilovich, Les Brown, Marty York, and Obi. Special teams really putting the Ticats out of this football game.
Well, special teams really showed that Winnipeg spent some time getting ready for this game in special teams. And you're going to see they got their first touchdown on a blocked punt. They've set up a scheme in there for Milt Stiegel to come in. They're overloading one side. If you watch for 85 on the film, you'll see him move, come from the left this time, goes by the deep back and blocks it, and then Perrin picks it up and runs it in for a touchdown. The points that they got in the first half, Winnipeg got, were off of special teams play and turnovers. Now you'll see Stiegel come from the right. They're changing up their scheme. They're covering people and trying to free him up, and he just about gets this one for another one. I don't know how he missed that one, actually. So they're giving him a lot of problems there, and obviously Winnipeg saw something in Hamilton's protection on punt coverage because they're doing a heck of a job there.
It's not just that, though, Les. Defensively, the way the Ticats have played like a team in the lead late in that half, and it got them in more trouble.
Yeah, the part I don't understand is what you just said. Like they're playing like a team in the lead. You know, the last 10 points that Winnipeg got was in the last 2 minutes of the game. Hamilton is losing. Somebody should go tell them that right now. And their secondary is giving up all kind of cushion, you know, for receivers to catch the ball in front of them, for them to march the ball back down the field in order to get another field goal.
Well, Anthony Calvillo, quarterback, he has the concussion. He's gone for the game, as we heard from Gino Retta. Marty, how much worse can it get for Don Sutherland, who already is feeling the heat? His job could be on the line.
His job is on the line, for sure, yeah. I mean, look at the tough breaks he's getting. He loses Calvillo because of an concussion. He loses Gonzalo Floyd early in the game because of an ejection. Osbaldiston misses a 10-yard field goal. I mean, that's unbelievable. I think you're going to see a coaching change in Hamilton this week, unless they make a miraculous comeback.
Or some player changes.
Or, well, yes, some player changes as well, I would think.
Well, it is not the good half so far for Don Sutherland, but it is a much better half for Bombers coach Jeff Reinbold, who spoke to Gino Retta right after the first half.
The first half for you guys, 23 points. The offense is really moving.
Well, I tell you, the kicking game got us kick-started a little bit. We blocked the punt and had the fake field goal. And, we needed that. And now Chris has really done a good job of running our no-huddle offense. I think our conditioning is really starting to show. But, to paraphrase my old boss, OB, one half doesn't a football game make. So we've got to play this whole second half and not, because it's a good football team. They're tough, and I know in this stadium they'll come back and play.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second.
Thank you, Gino.
So it's the Bombers, Jeff Reinbold, with the 15-point lead at the half. Friday Night Football continues right after this.
CFL Legends, brought to you by Advantage, providing solutions for business.
He had one of the strongest arms to ever throw a ball in the CFL. More on Dieter Brock in a moment. We're live and interactive here at TSN. Here are your updated standings at QB1 through the half at Ivor Wynn Stadium. And it's a half that hasn't worked out well for Hamilton, down by 15 points and losing a quarterback, tough on special teams, and Winnipeg developing a bit of an offense now. Let's head back to John, Leaf, and David. Guys?
Well, the interesting story about the Blue Bomber offense, David Archer, is it really didn't get rolling until those last two drives when they put 10 points up.
It really didn't, but you could see the feelings coming through for Chris Vargas as he really seemed to start to move the team, got in the no-huddle offense, really started to rack up some yards, 13 first downs, had 170, 169 yards passing. So I think Chris Vargas has really got something going now, and I think you can see the confidence in his eyes, and I think it's something they're going to feed on now, especially with the young quarterback on the other side.
Cavillo had confidence for a while, too, and now the Tiger Cats will have to do something without him.
He can't remember the confidence he had because he's been knocked out of the game, and I think you see in our halftime statistics just how meaningless time of possession becomes because Hamilton down by 23-8, and yet they had the ball for almost 7 minutes more than Winnipeg did. For Hamilton, they've just got to get cranked up. They were so flat in the last 5 minutes of that second half. They had a terrific defensive game a week ago, and somehow in that locker room, Don Southern's got to light some sort of fire, or they've got no shot in this second half.
Well, he certainly has to get the defense cranked up as far as it goes because Vargas and the Blue Bombers have a nice little 15-point lead heading into the second half. Coming up, a sports update with Teresa Cruz. And what a pretty night for Friday Night Football, live from Ivor Wynn in Hamilton. Red sky at night, sailor's delight. Is that how it goes?
That's how it goes, and that means it's going to be a lovely day here tomorrow in the eastern part of Canada.
Mike Colley will move in for Anthony Cavillo. Cavillo had things going early in this football game, offensively for the Tiger Cats. Then a hit. Slight concussion, and he is finished for the night. He'll try and remember his great moments at another time.
Well, for Mike Colley now, what an opportunity for him. I mean, this is a great situation. They're down by 15 points, and, you know, he hasn't had a lot of playing time. Nobody knows a great deal about him. And some people may say, well, boy, he's really in a tough spot. What I say is he's in a great spot. He's going to get some great playing time right now. He's 15 points behind. If they don't win, everybody will say, well, what the heck? He wasn't supposed to win anyway. And if he somehow reaches down and has a great second half and gets Hamilton in this game, they'll say, man, oh man, what a great job did he do. So I think for Mike Colley, this is a terrific opportunity.
It's a great opportunity, but believe me, Leaf, he's in a tough spot.
I'm trying to build it up here, Dave.
Yeah, it is a great opportunity for him, really is.
And yes, he is in a tough spot.
In a tough spot.
We're trying to look at the opportunities.
Sure.
Dawson returning for Winnipeg. Grabbed by Donovan Rice. It's been a month or two between victories for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. We take you back to 1996. October at Ivor Wynn Stadium.
How could we ever forget that night, Wellesley?
Wasn't there a wedding we went to right after the game?
Our vice president of programming, young Keith Pelly, we went to the wedding at the church. We came, did the game, and we went back to a wonderful reception.
And toasted the bride.
Today we saw Calvillo throwing the ball there to Mac Cody. He doesn't have that target this year,
That's a weapon missing.
You know what, David, John and I, who did the game last weekend with Toronto, we talked about, John brought that up, and you know, you look at little subtle changes in a team from year to year, and they sure do miss Matt Cody and his explosive skills. And really, when you look, you know, at the slots playing tonight, you get, you know, Mike Morielli on one side, and you know, he's not going to really beat you deep. Prince Wembley has not returned to the game from being injured, so that is a huge void from what they had a year ago.
Bombers are looking at 1st and 5. Ronald Williams has the first down. He's run well. 106 yards against the Argos in week 1. He was off a little bit in week 2, but he's heading toward a very positive number tonight.
But when he first came to the CFL, it was because Corey Philpott was injured in BC, and of course Ronnie Williams came in and did a super job. And then when Philpott got healthy, they just kept Ron Williams, and they found from time to time spots in the lineup for him. But what happened is everybody around the league got to see Ronnie Williams, and when he became available, Jeff Reinbold and, of course, Joe Paupow didn't hesitate Pow Pow, of course, in BC a year ago to get Ronnie Williams because they knew they could get some good production on the ground, and he's darn good receiver too.
Williams being attended to right now. It looked rather innocent the first time through.
Yeah, they're checking the knee, and again, you don't want to hedge on what happened. It looked like when he jumped in the air, may have come down a little wrong on the leg. And there's so much traffic around the legs and feet of the players in the trenches there, and checking the knee. I think he's going to be okay, but he's a guy that really has been a plus for Chris Vargas, because Chris has come into a new situation, and to have a running game and an offensive line playing the way they've played in the games that we've seen here on TSN, I think this team has a chance to develop into a pretty good ball club.
Picked up 500 yards as a BC Lion last year in just 12 games.
Yeah, and I think what he gives Vargas is the option to go to the running play. I mean, Vargas is a guy that's going to beat you with 40, 45 balls a game. And, you know, as we saw in the first half, Ronnie Williams is a pretty tough runner when you get him in those short yardage situations. First and goal at the 5-yard line. I mean, here's a guy that pounds it in for you, and that's pretty positive, and that gives everybody a lift when you can run the ball like that against a pretty good run defense that Hamilton has.
Winnipeg first down. At the Blue Bomber, 53. Bombers on top, 23-8. Vargas keeps it on the ground. That was Bruce Boyko. Interesting to have twins in the same backfield. Alan Boyko joins his brother Bruce as a Blue Bomber this year.
You know, Winnipeg's trying to do here is they're trying to stay with the same tempo they had, the up-tempo they had at the end of the half. The no-huddle operation with Vargas looking to the sidelines to Pow Pow for the call, and then him getting everybody lined up properly. It's been a good operation for him.
2nd and 6. Man open far side, no catch. Ted Alford was the intended target. It'll be 3rd down, Blue Bombers. I think he figures he might well have caught that one.
I think when you look at Hamilton right now, and you have to, you know, maybe suspect that Mike Cauley's not going to take them up and down the field, you have to look to special teams and defense to do something. I mean, that first series, they've held Winnipeg. They're going to get the ball back. And on special teams, somehow you have to try and create something, whether it be a block kick or a great return. Doesn't have to go all the way, just something that's really positive that gives your team a lift.
Bob Cameron. Jim Wilhite. Bombers special teams have been pretty good tonight. 44-yard punts. Ticat football when we return to Friday Night Football on TSN. Toronto Argonauts will try and catch up to the Montreal Alouettes tomorrow night as they head to the wheat fields of Saskatchewan to take on the Rough Riders. Should be a pretty good football game. We've got it for you tomorrow night. Live from Taylor Field. It'll be 8 o'clock Eastern. How healthy is Flutie?
Yeah, that should be a good matchup. You know, there's some things there sitting there where look at as you see the fan. There's some rabid fans here. People don't realize the rabid fans that are here in Hamilton, and there's some of them right there.
Ben Zambiasi's old number 31, and I'll tell you, when I come to Hamilton, these girls are fabulous. They're a tumbling team that are here every game, and they do a heck of a job.
Unfortunately, we just missed all the tumbles, but take Leaf's word for it.
They're
terrific.
Good.
Bombers by a bunch, 23-8. Ticats 1st and 10. Mike Cauley at the controls for Hamilton. Behind Morielli.
Believe me, they didn't give him a break, John. Coach Reinboldt's got him right into the gun because this is a free safety blitz.
Oh, Dave, have a look at this. What is this? 8, 9 guys coming up here. Hey, Mike Cauley, have a look at this kind of a defense and see if you can figure it out. How many is that? 8 coming? And Shante Peoples puts the hit on him, but I think you're going to see this quite a bit. And, hey, I don't blame Mike Roach, the defensive coordinator of Winnipeg. I think I'd be doing the same thing.
Ticats hemmed in at the 17. Cauley looking at 2nd and 10. He takes off. Big run for Mike Cauley. That worked. Out across the 40 to the 42.
David, do you remember when you were a young quarterback and if the first wave passed you on the pass rush and you didn't see anybody, I mean, it was automatic run. And boy, Mike Colley doesn't take him long to make his mind up, and that's a heck of a good run. You get yourself some field position and a first down.
Yeah, your eyes get real big in that situation. You got to make sure a bug doesn't fly in your eye.
And you are happy when you see that lane open up, aren't you?
Now at the 42, first down, Tiger Cats. Emerson. Archie Emerson stopped by Dwayne Knight. Ticats on a bit of a roll. Gene?
Well, John, you see Mike Colley doing some running out there. You get a little bit nervous on the Hamilton Ticats sideline. That's because their backup quarterback is supposed to be Kendrick Nord out of Grambling, but he's actually sitting in the stands, not dressed in his civvies. So if Colley's hurt, they'll have to go to slot back / receiver Andrew Grigg in his stead.
Gene better start warming his arm up down there. They might be looking towards him.
Colley over the top on second and a long yard.
I'll tell you what does happen, though, when you run with the football like that as a quarterback, especially a young quarterback, which I had to do early in my career in the NFL because of the lack of blocking that I experienced in Atlanta. It gets you into the ball game. It gets you a flow. It gets you a feeling. You know, you get beat around a little bit. I always felt like I wasn't really into the game until I took a shot. He certainly took a shot at the end of that run. I think it's a good calming effect for him.
Calming effect. Okay.
That is interesting.
Another Ticat first down. Colley has Emerson out near the 45. Is that the play you were calling for?
That's the play. They're going to play that coverage where Andrew Henry, the free safety, is going to come up and bluff blitz and fall off and double the slot receiver. Emerson's coming from the weak side with a linebacker, Dwayne Knight, on him.
Yeah, and he just comes right here. They try and wall him off, but they miss. I mean, that is good defense. The play's right, but a little juke, and Emerson gets by. I mean, the technique was right. He just wasn't able to wall off Emerson, and Colley all of a sudden got a pretty good drive going here.
Another 13 yards for the Tiger Cats. Now at the Bomber 46. Nice play action fake. Colley throwing on the run. He has Andrew Grigg.
Hey, the young guy's pumped up right now, and that's what happens. He had the run, he avoided the rush, got upfield, got a first down for his team, and now he's completed 2 passes in a row with 2 good reads, 2 good throws.
And that play is as old as the hills. When you bootleg to the weak side, you've always got a guy dragging across the middle. If nothing's open on the front side of the pattern, that play's been around for 50 years, and the Ticats run it perfectly, and that is a good throw.
23 yards. Ticats set up at the Bomber 23. Thomas breaks through. All right.
Just what the doctor ordered for this team. A tremendous drive by the youngster, and he gets the ball to Marcus, and Marcus scores. But the pass plays, the running of the quarterback all set up the run game there.
And what the doctor ordered was to get something done on the ground, and that's exactly what they did with Mike Colley, and of course with Derek Thomas on that great touchdown run.
Marcus Thomas with the touchdown. The Ticats are back in it. You're with Friday Night Football on TSN. Mike Colley is the happiest guy in Hamilton after engineering a drive that ended in a touchdown by that guy, Marcus Thomas.
Now watch Marcus Thomas. All the good running backs make people miss. Watch this. Hey, there's Dwayne Knight. He's a good open field tackler, but Marcus Thomas makes him miss right there at the point of attack. And then with some terrific speed and another couple of broken tackles, Thomas is into the end zone. But if you're a running back that can make people miss, you've got a chance for success.
Just 33 yards on 4 rushes, but a big touchdown to get the Tiger Cats back in this one. This is Dexter Dawson returning for Winnipeg. Big hit by Montford. Nice drive, David Archer. 7 plays, 93 yards. He didn't look like a rookie.
That's a tremendous drive, and of course Don Blackwelder's got to be extremely happy with his young quarterback, and I saw him talking to him on the headset there as Leaf was describing that tremendous run by Thomas. But the biggest thing he's got to guard against now is getting too hyped up. He needs to stay calm, stay even field.
But on the other hand, David, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they know they're in the game now. They had everything kind of their way second half of the second quarter, but they're in a game.
Vargas on first down. Baker makes the catch. He's well short of the first down, out across the 40 at about the 41.
And I mean, that was a simple play, but you see just a little bit more enthusiasm on the Hamilton defense. There was only one or maybe two guys tackling. That time 3 and 4 met that receiver, and that drive has really lifted the entire team.
Gain is actually 6. This is 2nd and 4 for Vargas. Swinging out of the backfield for Boyko. Good hit on Boyko to stop him short of a first down. Orlando Steinauer, number 22.
You know, you're exactly right, Leaf. It's really jacked up the defense. There is a play where Steinauer's looking through the guy he's covering into the backfield, and he sees the swing pass and comes up, makes a play. He's just responsible for the zone in the flat, comes up, makes a nice tackle, but they're arriving at the football now with some bad intentions, and that's what they want on defense.
That brings in Bob Cameron to punt for Winnipeg from his 30.
Well, they have a chance, Hamilton, right now to change the flow of this game. They kind of changed it a bit, but they have a chance to really change it if they can get something going and they get the ball back again.
Cameron lifts it. And Ruffin won't have a play. Ticats get it back. Mike Colley at the controls for Hamilton. Some happy faces at Ivor Wynn on Friday Night Football. It was pretty quiet just before the half in Hamilton, but things have livened up for Friday Night Football. Fairly intense evening. On the field and in the stands, Tiger Cats on first down. Emerson will have the necessary yardage, but there's a marker down. And I don't think that's good news for Hamilton. Well, maybe.
Offside, Winnipeg number 56. Penalty is declined. First down.
Corrected. Shante Peoples offside. Tiger Cats will take the gain and a first down out at the 50.
And what an opportune time to get the running game going. I mean, a running game that was non-existent about an hour ago, all of a sudden has come to life, and come to life in a big way.
Archie Emerson, for that previous first down, he's been impressive in his debut, and he gets it again. Archie Emerson down to about the 45, and Peoples again on the stop. Guess what? One more marker.
Well, this is going to be a penalty, but Leaf, I think we had a tremendous block by the lead back here, Marcus Thomas.
We had a great block by Thomas, and Jude St. John.
Holding, Hamilton number 57. Repeat, first down.
You know what's unfortunate? Jude St. John made a beautiful block on the outside. Here's St. John here. Watch the block. I mean, it's St. Germain in there that gets called, but I mean, this is great. He just takes his guy all the way downfield, and you know, you see the left arm of Val St. Germain just got hooked in on Tyrone Rogers, and he gets called. But I mean, Hamilton, if there's one thing to be encouraged about, they're starting to control that front, and they're getting some push on that defensive front.
Ticats staring at first and 20, back at the 40. Low snap, Colley fielded it, and never really regained his composure after that.
Well, there's a situation where a young quarterback, he just lost his composure. The ball was snapped low, but he still had protection. He picked the ball up in enough time, but he assumed that everything had broken down on him and was trying to get out of there. The snap is, it's a bad snap. He has to reach down and field it, but if you watch, everything's still set up for him. He just decides to scramble for no reason, and that's what happens. Young quarterback just not used to being in there.
And what did you used to have in the playbook for second and 30?
Second and 30 is usually when I start signaling for the special teams to come on right now.
That's what the Ticats are staring at. Whoa! There were some yards available right there. Thomas couldn't hang on.
I tell you, they had the perfect play set up here. They had a middle screen set up to Marcus Thomas, but before the snap, and again, here's a situation for a young quarterback. He doesn't recognize, as we see the screen pass develop. Well designed. Marcus just doesn't come up with the catch. But out to the left side of Colley, Amerson's lined up uncovered, all alone. Nobody saw him. He may have run till he ran into the fence at the far end of the stadium.
That play had a lot of potential if Marcus Thomas hangs on.
Osbaldiston now back at his 15. Shalon Baker waits at the 36. And he ran right into a Ticat tackler. That's Dean Noel. So a decent place to begin for the Blue Bombers. 23-15 the score. Winnipeg on top.
Way to go, Hawk! Way to go!
Momentum has shifted a little bit toward the Tiger Cats.
I'd have to call that a blown opportunity there by Hamilton, Leaf. They had a great running play, and St. Jude gets called for the holding call, and they were down to the 40, 45-yard line of Winnipeg. So now the defense is going to have to step up.
From the 45, Vargas slips it to Williams, and he's dragged down from behind. There's a marker down. Mike Campbell on the tackle. Looks like Darth Vader there. Options to the Tiger Cats with 4:43 to go, third quarter.
Holding, Winnipeg number 60. Penalty is declined. Second down.
Dave Van Koon at the Blue Bomber center, trying to hide in there behind Bjorn. 16 for 24, 160 yards. No touchdowns for Vargas so far. No interceptions either. He's been perfect all season long in that department. 0 ICs. Looking at second in a bunch. Man open. Boyko looked to be behind, but he almost tossed up his first interception there as
Kenny
we
Wilhite
chatted about it.
Kenny Wilhite plays it extremely well, but again, we talked about DBs catching interceptions.
They've got terrible hands, but I mean they fooled Vargas. I mean, that's the illusion of the zone. They rolled the corner up next Steinhauer, and then they had Wilhite protecting him deep. Vargas's eyes get huge. He thinks, hey, they've blown the coverage, but all of a sudden Wilhite shows up just at the right time and really should have had the pick.
Cameron back at his 26 on third down, Winnipeg. Shorter kick this time. This is Aaron Ruffin, the ex-Rough Rider, and there's nowhere to go. He's to the 37 and no more. 37-yard punt for Cameron. Bob Cameron in his 18th CFL season. Division All-Star in 1995. Still a ways to go to catch up to the big guy Miles and the old guy Louie.
And the amazing thing about Cameron is he's, all 18 seasons there in Winnipeg. He's a fixture in that community, spends a lot of time helping out in the community and stuff. Just a great job.
And completed a pass tonight.
Yeah, perfect passing percentage this season. Bob Cameron, 1 for 1 and a first down. Nice fake by Colley on first down, Hamilton. Now his eyes opened up over there. He thought there was a lot of running room, but it closed in quite quickly.
I don't know what it is about young quarterbacks, and I went through it in my young days. You got to learn to get out of bounds or get down on the ground because, 200 pounds doesn't work real good when you run into 250 pounds. And Shante Peoples taught him a little bit of a lesson over on the sideline over there.
None the worse for wear. Anthony Cavill watching from the sidelines. Suffered a concussion in the second quarter. Second down, about 7 to go. Emerson can't turn the corner after making the catch.
Hell no!
Dwayne Knights had him wrapped up. Next teammate of yours, number 8.
Yeah, Dwayne has a lot of ability. The guy can really run. We saw him miss a tackle that allowed Marcus Thomas to score, but Dwayne is a good open field tackler, and I think his strength is the ability to run with the young receivers that he's done tonight.
You took the words out of my mouth, because when he first came into the league, teams used to overload with their number 3 receivers on him as a linebacker and say, oh, we got a great matchup here. We're going to get one against this matchup. But time and time again, he stayed right with receivers. And, boy, we found out in a hurry throughout this league that he is a terrific runner as a linebacker and a great cover man.
Osbaldiston had to hurry that one. He got a fortunate bounce. Flags at both ends of the field. Near the kicker, near the returner. And I'm not sure how many flags have flown tonight, but we'll count that up and check in with Gino.
Van Watt ready?
I guess we can't make contact with Gino Retta on the sidelines at this time.
He's out scooping up all those flags, so we won't have any more.
I saw him down there loosening up.
Illegal
I think that
block,
after
Winnipeg
Colley's
number
hit.
88. Penalty is declined. We have holding, Winnipeg number 70. Penalty is accepted, first down.
After that hit we saw Peoples put on Colley, he started loosening up down there, Leaf. I think he actually took you for granted on that.
Jacket came off, arms started loosening up.
I've seen Gino throw, too, and they don't have a shot with him in the game.
Gino Retta used to coach Julio Caravata.
And what?
Football in Toronto. True story.
I know that's a true story.
I don't know if it's a true story, but that's the story Gino tells.
And he's sticking with it.
More flags on first down Winnipeg. So did you coach Julio Caravata?
Yes, I coached Julio Caravata. As a matter of fact, I made him the quarterback he is today.
It only took him 6 years to become a starter.
Well, let me tell you this, though. Joe Monfort on the last Winnipeg Blue Bombers offensive possession. Well, the Ticats defensive end walked up to me and he said, "I guarantee you this next defensive timeout for me, I'm going to get a sack. I guarantee you, I have been really close. I'm going to get a sack on this next Blue Bomber drive."
The pressure is on Joe Monfort.
Well, this is a huge defensive situation here for Hamilton. They can get the short field for their young quarterback if they can come up with a defensive stop here.
Another penalty against the Bombers, making this 1st and 15. That's the 25th penalty so far tonight. Vargas hemmed in deep, pumps once. Looked for Boyko and missed by a bunch. Hitchcock was closing. It might have been interesting.
Well, Joe Monfort had indicated that this was sack time for him. Take a look at him on the outside. That wasn't an overly aggressive pass rush. It's kind of like he was taking one off there.
Let's hope that he was in pass coverage on that one, Leaf, because I don't know that we're going to get a sack from him in that situation.
The numbers on Vargas. No interceptions. He's looking at 2nd and 15 at the Bomber 11. There's the interception, first of the season. Steinauer. Orlando Steinauer has his first interception of the season. That's the first given up by Chris Vargas.
This is a classic scenario where Chris has got to find the cornerback on this play. He's got a wide receiver out in the flat, and he has his slot receiver running what we call a corner route, headed towards the flag, and he just doesn't find the corner who's responsible for deep third. He falls back inside and picks it.
Yeah, and that's just a great play of reading the pattern by the corner. We saw Steinauer do that on a running play. He left his man, came up and hit a great hit on Ronnie Williams. Now again, he leaves his man and helps out Wilhite and ends up with an interception. Great instincts and great anticipation by Orlando Steinauer.
His first interception of the season, rather timely for the Ticats. Set up near the 20. Emerson couldn't escape from Shante Peoples that time. He's been impressive for Winnipeg, number 56.
Does he get upfield in a hurry? I mean, if it's a pass rush or a running play, Shante Peoples gets upfield. Of course, Jeff Reinbold had Shante Peoples in Las Vegas when he was working with the defense down there. So after he had sat out for a year, he was Saskatchewan property. Jeff Reinbold made a deal with Saskatchewan for the ability to try and sign him, which he did.
14 sacks as a rookie in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah, he was good. And Jeff knew that and went out and got him.
Loss is 2, 2nd and 12 facing Colley and the Cats. Oh, he was behind Emerson. He might have been a little over anxious because Emerson did come open.
He really did. It was a good read. Emerson came inside, and this is just a situation where the ball's thrown behind Emerson, but it's a big situation. He needs to come up with his catch.
Yeah, watch Emerson right here. He finds the hole. He runs a great pattern. They've got 3-on-2 right here. It's a mismatch, but Colley just throws it a little bit behind him, and they had the perfect mismatch. 3 people out there and only 2 defensive backs.
Ticats come close as time ticks down. In the 3rd quarter, this should be the last play. A field goal try by Paul Osbaldiston. He missed one earlier. No mistake this time for Paul Osbaldiston as the Cats creep a little closer to the front-running Blue Bombers. It's 23-18, 1 quarter to go. And we send you back to Friday Night Football Control.
Welcome back to Friday Night Football Control. Rod Smith along with Obi, Les, and Marty. And we've seen something from Mike Colley, the replacement for Anthony Calvillo in this half, something less from that Tiger Cat offense. They could run the football in that 3rd quarter.
Well, it all started when Mike Colley, when they got the ball on their own 18-yard line, Mike Colley broke off on a 30-yard run. And then they just seemed to, well, and one thing, Jeff Reinbold started pressuring him, which you're supposed to do with a young quarterback, and I was giving all the credit to Jeff at that time for pressuring a young quarterback. But then they just started to take control of the offensive line. The offensive line started to take control of the defensive line. They just ran it all over them.
What they were doing is they were getting seams because Winnipeg was blitzing, and all they were doing was getting a few cracks there, and they were popping those running plays, and that's kind of taking them out of some of that pass rush now. But Colley's an interesting guy. Coach Southern said at the beginning of the season when I talked to him as his backup quarterback, he said he reminded him a lot of Matt Dunnigan. He had that same kind of attitude. We saw him try to run over the Shante Peoples on the sidelines, so that kind of reinforces what they like about him. But he thinks he's got the ability to run because he says he's a legitimate 4.6 as far as speed's concerned.
Well, Bob, I think it's too early to pass judgment on Colley, but I know in training camp there were a lot of the Tiger Cat players were upset when Larry Justanis was asked to be they wanted him to transform him into a slot back. Here's a guy who set all kinds of passing records at Acadia, and he's Canadian, obviously, and he didn't want to accept that role. He didn't want to be a slot back, so he walked out of camp. And I know a lot of the Canadian players, particularly in Hamilton, were upset, but Colley looks okay so far.
Well, I think, it's a case of they were looking at him as a quarterback versus Colley, and obviously they felt he was a better quarterback than Justanis, so they were trying to give him a chance to make the team somewhere.
Which he has proven that he is a better quarterback this far, anyway.
He certainly has had his moments leading that drive down that ended up in that touchdown for the Ticats to get them within 8, and then the interception to get them within 5 points. Hamilton not out of it as we head to the 4th quarter and back to Ivor Wynne Stadium.
We're excited about this one, 23-18. Bombers on top of the Ticats. The rookie Hamilton quarterback has ignited the Tiger Cats. Mike Colley in relief of Anthony Calvillo. 15 minutes to get even and better. The Blue Bombers on home turf at Ivor Wynne. Lots on the line in this one tonight.
Gino talked to Coach Reinbold before he went in at halftime, and he alluded to the fact that he knew that this Winnipeg or this Hamilton team was going to come out and spite and claw, and they have.
Osbaldiston gets the 4th quarter underway. Dexter Dawson out to the 35-yard line as Steinauer heads back onto the field. And the interception sets up 3.
And he really showed me a lot here. I mean, the ability to read inside, read the pattern, see what's happening, leave your man on the out, come over and help out on the corner route. And I mean, that is just, you have to have a great feel for what offenses are doing to read the patterns, and that was super.
Ticats with the edge in time of possession. Net yards belongs to the Tiger Cats too, but the scoreboard is Winnipeg's for now at 23-18. Bombers beginning 1st and 10 at the 36. Leonard Jean-Pierre, number 35, in for Ronald Williams.
I'm really surprised that Winnipeg has not been able to run the ball a little better tonight. Their offensive line did such a great job a couple of weeks ago against Toronto, which I think is a real good defense. Hamilton obviously needs some credit. I know Joe wants to establish the run, and I know he's concerned that he hasn't been able to do that. But that was a 4-yard gain, so that's what you're looking for from the run.
second down. Vargas. No one home. Shalon Baker was within about 20 yards.
Yeah, I think he threw that ball away. He wanted Shalon on a little post route there, a little pump, and tried to hit him on a seam post, which was completely covered up, and he threw the ball over his head.
Funny how the momentum has shifted for these two quarterbacks. We saw Vargas do so well going toward halftime.
Well, I think they've gotten, Winnipeg's gotten away from some of the things they did well there right before the half. The little short passes, the mixing the run in, moving Vargas out of the pocket, doing some of those things. They tried to take a few shots down the field and gone a 2 and out a couple of times.
Cameron across the 30 to get a wobbly one away. Aaron Ruffin surrounded by white shirts and dropped after a 2-yard return. 35-yard punt. Lots of close games in Canadian football this year. 3 decided by a point. Largest margin of victory is 15, and the average is 5.8.
And who would have thought Calgary would be 0-3 after 3 weeks of this season?
Well, I played against Calgary for 4 years in this league, and believe me, Coach Buono will have those guys ready to play before the season ends. I think that if there's any team that can recover from a 3-0 start and get back in, or 0-3 start and get back into the action, it'll be Calgary.
Of course, the Stampeders lost their first 2 games by a total of 2 points. Colley, a little low, but he makes contact. Andrew Gregg, far side. And he is listed as the backup quarterback for the Tiger Cats as of right now.
Believe
with
me,
Cavillo out.
Believe me, Andrew likes just where he's playing right now. He does not want to have to take a snap in this ball game, and I guarantee you, Coach Southern doesn't want him to either. But a good throw there by Colley, keeping himself in conversion situations here, second down and medium.
2nd and 5, and the ball squirts loose. Ticats get it back and will kick it away. Emerson, number 9. Had a little trouble that time.
I don't think anybody really realized that the ball was loose except for Archie Emerson, because he coughs it up here, and you know, although it looked like he might have been down, he wasn't taking any chances. Maybe, of course, that's why Winnipeg relaxed. He was down.
Of course, there's a classic scenario. St. John's going to pick it up and run for a first down. Did you see that?
I don't think so. Again, keep in mind, Hamilton's had a kick blocked tonight, and Winnipeg has put consistent pressure on all evening.
Osbaldiston, a low drive. It's by Baker, trickling right down to about the 8-yard line. Still can't find it. Looks to draw a flag, and there's no markers anywhere. Bombers are hemmed in deep after a 61-yard punt. Lots to cheer about on Friday Night Football. Middle linebacker Calvin Tiggle, a big part of the Tiger Cats defense, knows exactly how important this night is.
Well, this game is very important, you know, to us anyway, and as well as Winnipeg, because we both you know what I'm saying, we haven't won a game, and we both looking at going to this game as a victory. Y'all know Winnipeg looking for a victory. We sure enough looking for a victory. So it's going to be a big battle, you know. People think it's not going to be a good game, but it's going to be a good game because, you know, Winnipeg or us don't want to come out this game 0-3. We want to be 1-2.
Well said, Calvin Tiggle. And it's time for the Ticat defense right now.
And Calvin Tiggle did a heck of a job to squeeze down that lane down the middle. Vargas trying to thread it in between Justin Ring and Calvin Tiggle, the 2 linebackers, and he actually got a finger on it as he slid across in that middle linebacking spot. There's Tiggle right in the middle. Watch this. You bet, he got just a little baby finger on that one.
Just tiggled it.
Tiggled it.
Bombers 2nd and 10. Inside the 10. Vargas gets some heat, got it away. No chance, far side. Alford, the intended receiver. Eric Carter, 2-time All-Canadian, makes a big play.
You know, John, at the break, David and Archer were talking. I mean, you see football, you know football, and you get to points in the game where a team really has a chance to do something. And with Winnipeg backed up, you know, we were saying This is Hamilton's shot right here. If they get a 2-and-out, the young quarterback's going to undoubtedly get terrific field position to work with. And, you know, this is the point in the game. This is Hamilton's shot.
Cameron will be punting from the end zone. And the Ticats expect it somewhere around midfield. That's where the return guys are standing, Ruffin and Steinauer. But the Ticats got a rush. Ruffin can't hang on to it. I think he got it back. A little dangerous there for the Tiger Cats, who have their chance right now with 10:56 to go on Friday Night Football.
Friday Night Football tonight.
And the joints jumping tonight. Iverwin Stadium in Hamilton. Leaf, the tumblers you were talking about, we just had to roll in a couple.
They are terrific.
Ticats, 1st and 10. This is the newcomer at quarterback, Mike Colley. Throwing on the run. Greg is open. Close to a first down. We'll see where they spot the ball. It was a quiet stadium when we began things here. And until halftime, it was pretty much that way, but the Tiger Cats and the fans rolling now.
And second time Andrew Griggs caught this kind of a ball on the bootleg. He's coming from the backside, and Colley's looking for him because he's been able to find an open spot in that zone.
You know, we really haven't mentioned Andrew Griggs, but he's come up with 2 big grabs for Colley now. And this is a guy that's come in off the bench for the injured Prince Wimbley, and he's done a heck of a job, maybe making a bid to be the guy in there.
I stand corrected. Greg had enough for the first down. Now at the 36 of Winnipeg, Andrew Gregg, 5 receptions, 76 yards. Smith, the intended receiver, and there was big-time heat on Colley.
You know, Colley makes a mistake here. This is a situation where they came after him. They brought a lot of people after him, but they left Archie Amerson open. They left him uncovered. Big-time pressure. You see Amerson at the bottom of your screen comes clean. I imagine Dwayne Knight had him in coverage, let him go. And this is just a great defensive play by the wide receiver, Leaf.
Yes, it really is. He fought through the football to make sure that there was no interception. But Dwayne Knight got in again with the pressure. I mean, you know, we talked about his pass coverage abilities that everybody in the league found out early. But he also can come after that quarterback as well. But Colley made a pretty good read, though. I mean, he could feel the heat. He knew what he wanted to do. He maybe should have hit Amerson, but that's a little unfair because he hasn't been in these situations that much. But he knew one thing. He was going to have a shot at the home run, and he was just hoping his guy could make a big play.
And, you know, it showed a lot of belief that his guy would go out and get the football for him. So obviously some instincts there. He needs to have somebody get with him, though, on the eye black situation. He's really struggled getting that on.
Yep. What happens to a rookie quarterback? Does anybody help with the eye black coming in?
Well, it looks like Rob Hitchcock played a joke on him and didn't realize he was going to get in the game and get this much airtime, but somebody's going to have to dress him up there a little bit with his eye black. I know you're a big eye black guy, Lee.
Yeah, he needs a little help in makeup.
He should call Revlon, and maybe they'll send someone over. 9:49 to go in the 4th quarter in Hamilton. It's a 5-point ball game on Friday Night Football. It's been a tough night for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on the defensive line. Tyrone Rogers being helped to the sidelines. Williams is also slightly shaken up, and Tommy Fagan, defensive end for the Blue Bombers, went out earlier. Gino?
Well, John, I can tell you Tommy Fagan's actually gone to the hospital now for x-rays on that knee. They're concerned it may be an ACL. And in certain terms of Ron Williams, well, Ron Williams is actually sitting on the bench with an ice pack on his knee for a little while, hoping to stay out of the remainder of the ball game. But with now making it a close game, they're thinking they may have to use Williams again.
Dean Noel. The release valve took a pass from Mike Colley for a giant first down.
Well, they obviously saw this in the first half. They saw it In the first half, they had it set up, Leaf, and this time they get it done. This time Noel catches the football.
And they do a great acting job to invite the linemen upfield. Look at all those Winnipeg linemen around Colley when he releases the football, and lots of room for Dean Noel. A well-executed center screen.
That's a great play against a real aggressive defense. When
Absolutely.
You got linebackers coming, suck them in and throw it right over their head.
First and 10, Ticats at the Bomber 14 after a 22-yard gain. Colley looks to the end zone. He's picked off. Hamilton has it. Markers are down as Hamilton tries to get out of the end zone and then goes down.
Well, there's not a whole lot you can say about that. That was just an ugly read and not a good throw by Mike Colley, because I mean, there just was nowhere to go except to Brandon Hamilton.
Penalty after the interception, I do believe.
Illegal block. Winnipeg number 26 after the interception. First down.
So Mike Colley heads to the sidelines, a little upset with himself.
Well, Winnipeg's going to bring the heat again, and this time it looks like Peoples is unblocked, and that's where a young quarterback has to learn the game and take the sack. You're in the scoring zone. You can't give the football up in the scoring zone.
Well, again, the pressure coming. He knows Peoples is free. He's got to release the football quickly, but he just makes a poor decision, and a decision that's not surprising for a young player under that kind of pressure.
Don Southern hangs on to his hat on the sidelines. Bombers get it back. First down at the 15. Tough running for Ronald Williams. Tried to go off the right side, and there was not much out there.
Yeah, talking to Kai Bjorn and some of the big offensive linemen, Chris Perez, before the game, they said that this is their time. When they lead the game and need to grind some time off the clock, they think they can take the game on their shoulders and run the football. They're going to get their opportunity here over the next 7 minutes or so.
Especially since Vargas has gone ice cold in the passing department.
Bombers 2nd and 6. Vargas swings it out. He'll get a first down from Williams.
Maybe.
Well, he was forced back. I thought he was out across that 25-yard line.
Yeah, he's got that.
You're sure about that?
He's got it.
No problem.
This is a good read by Chris Vargas, too. He's got his back in the flat, makes a good throw under duress here, and puts it right on the money. That's a tough throw. People don't realize how tough a throw that is to throw the ball directly away from you on a guy running a swing route. And he puts it right on the money on Williams.
But it's also a good throw to get yourself out of a slump when you've struggled in the second half.
17 of 31. 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Early movement from the Ticat side. Montford appeared to jump a bit early. 6:57 to go. Fourth quarter. The indication is against the Tiger Cats. Hamilton on top.
Offside, Hamilton number 53. Repeat, first down.
Well, you get into crunch time. We got 6:57 remaining, and you know, Joe Montford's a good player and a tough player, but Hamilton just has had so many silly penalties tonight, and you just can't give teams 1st and 5 when you're trying to get the ball back.
Montford promised a sack earlier. It was early movement again, but someone got back on time, and Williams scampers for a first down on 1st and 5. Actually picks up almost 20 yards.
Well, this is what that offensive line said they wanted to do. They wanted to take the game on their shoulders, and they're pounding the run, creating creases for Ronald Williams, who we've seen over the first 3 weeks of the season has the ability to hit the hole and hit it hard. You know, Chris Vargas, from what I've seen, has maybe the best count at the line of scrimmage. He has pulled so many people offside this season already. He obviously has something going because he's got the number of that front four for Hamilton.
From the Blue Bomber 44, it's first down Winnipeg, and Williams again. I thought he was hurt. He's running with authority. Rob Hitchcock makes the tackle on Ronald Williams this time.
Good blocking up front. Kai Bjorn kicks outside right there at the point of attack. Ronnie Williams patient enough again to let that blocking develop and then accelerating to the hole. I mean, you know, so many running backs just want to get there so fast and try and make something happen. But Williams, with the patience to let it develop,
and then take advantage of the good blocks he's getting up front.
Williams got 9. This is 2nd and 1, and he gets the call again. Ron Williams, another Blue Bomber first down. We're talking about that Winnipeg offensive line with Perez, Bjorn, and Hendrickson all new to the group, but all with great experience in the CFL prior to coming to Winnipeg.
They've really come together as a group, and you got to credit the offensive coaches for Winnipeg to get a ground game, because when you got a ground game as a quarterback, boy, that opened up so many more avenues. Big Craig Hendrickson. I talked to him early in the game. He was working on his delivery before the game, but he's delivering some shots to some defensive linemen right now.
First down, Winnipeg. And Williams stopped in his tracks that time. Another marker comes down.
There's a flag on the play.
4:43 to go. It's the Bombers by 5 at 23-18. I think Hamilton might get nailed here.
We've no infraction on the play.
Well, there's good news.
You know, I think
somebody's got mine.
Well, you know, when Winnipeg's starting to just jam that ball down the Hamilton defense's throat, it's got to be Calvin Tiggle, 73 in the middle of your screen as a middle linebacker. He's got to get aggressive and start to try and take control of that line of scrimmage. He's a terrific middle linebacker from tackle to tackle, making plays, and he's got to be the guy right now if they're going to stop the running game of the Blue Bombers.
Well, it really sets up the play action pass, though, on first down for their next first down situation.
Alford to the near side as a wide receiver for Winnipeg. This is 2nd and 10, critical down for Vargas. Receivers appeared to be covered, and then Boyko finds a way out of the backfield. Marker far side. That was Bruce Boyko. Aaron Ruffin on the tackle. Face mask. Lots of face masks tonight.
Major foul, face mask, Hamilton number 32. First down.
So Aaron Ruffin in there as a nickelback.
Face mask.
Well, Aaron Ruffin shaking his head, but you be the judge. You get a look at it right there. I don't think there's any question.
Yeah, but where's the face mask on the offensive player? Let's see it again. Watch the offensive player stick his hand in the face mask. Now, you tell me who's got whose face mask there.
Hey, I agree with you.
They call that a straight arm to the offensive.
It's illegal to straight arm a guy in the face, and I think that Hamilton took one there.
Big run for Jean-Pierre. Number 35, Leonard Jean-Pierre. In there in relief of a beleaguered Ronald Williams. 4th rounder in '96 out of York University in his 2nd season. Not a whole bunch of playing time with the Bombers last year.
But what a drive this has been by Chris Vargas, mainly on the ground and just chewing up that clock. They got this football with just slightly under 7 minutes remaining, and now we're down under 3.5. So they have done a heck of a job to grind this clock.
1st and 10. Jean-Pierre again, and this time 2 Ticats wrap him up.
I'm telling you,
Montford is one.
I'm sorry, John. They have got Hamilton so set up for a play action pass right now. It's ridiculous. All the linebackers are committing to stop the run right now, and if Vargas sticks the ball in Jean-Pierre's stomach and pulls it out, he's going to have somebody running scot-free down the field.
We'll watch for that with 3 minutes on the clock unofficially. Winnipeg on top by 5 at 23-18. And the Bombers have taken momentum back to their side with a very impressive ground march from deep in Winnipeg territory.
Well, the offensive line has stepped up just like they said they were going to in this ball game. They felt like they could run the football and do some of the things that would take to get some things done, and they've moved the ball extremely well.
3-minute warning is up at Ivor Stadium in Hamilton. The Bombers threatening to add to a 5-point lead. The Ticats will try and prevent that when we return to Friday Night Football. Tomorrow, the biggest event in Boston since the Tea Party. The Rocket returns. Roger Clemens on the mound for the Blue Jays against the Red Sox. 4:30 Eastern on TSN tomorrow. Boy, there's a lot of hype for this return, isn't there?
There's so much hype that Roger Clemens held a press conference at the hotel yesterday, so the media wouldn't bother the rest of the players in the locker room, and I'm sure he'll be watching that game tomorrow afternoon.
That press conference lasted for an hour too. It was for one player. He's excited about throwing there in Fenway, I tell you.
Has he not pitched or what? My, oh my, what a year he's had.
Vargas looks at 2nd and 9. The Bombers at the Ticat 15. Huge play for the Ticat defense. And Carter almost comes up with the interception. Wouldn't that have been huge? Right now it's a 5-point Winnipeg lead. If they go for the field goal, it's 8, and that makes an interesting finish, doesn't it?
And in my book, there's no one better than Eric Carter, number 2 at the top. Here he is right there, and you just actually, here's Carter right here. Apologize. And when you're going against him, you know you're in for a battle. We lose him just a little bit, but does he fight for the football and probably should have had the interception? That's pretty good play by Alford to break it up.
Cameron will put it down for Westwood on the 22. No problem with that. So the Bombers increase the lead to 8 points with 2:36 to go and a rookie quarterback at the controls.
But what that play does by Carter is keeps them within range for the young kid to come back and do something with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, which a touchdown would have put it out of reach.
Well, I think at halftime when they were trailing by a bunch, Don Southern would have been happy with a backup quarterback to get into the 4th quarter and say with 2:36 remaining, we've got a shot. We're a touchdown and a 2-point convert behind a tie. And I think if you'd have given him that option at halftime, he'd have said, I'll take it.
You bet. Yeah, he's got to be excited that he's in the ball game with the injuries that he's sustained, especially to Kilvio, no question about it.
And the line score supports that. I mean, Hamilton's defense has held Winnipeg to a mere field goal here in the 2nd half, and Mike Colley's done enough to get the job done to give his team a chance to tie this game up.
One very impressive drive and one 25-yard run in the middle of that by the quarterback himself.
You know, what Colley has to do now is he has to learn quickly. He has to learn from the mistakes he's made already in this ballgame. Unfortunately, that's the situation he faces. He has to learn from the mistakes he's already made and not make them again.
The kickoff by Westwood rolls out at the 20, and he'll try that again. 11 months ago on a Friday night, the Ticats lost their starting quarterback against the BC
Winnipeg number
Lions.
7.
And they lost the game by 10. Tonight their starting quarterback is on the sidelines, and they were trailing by 8. Thinking back to Matt Dunnigan's final game in the Canadian Football League. He went out with a concussion 11 months ago. Friday night, Rough Riders, Stampeders. A week from tonight. Boy, the Stampeders will be a little hungry. After a slow start and losing games 1 and 2 by a point. Bobby Jurison will be fired up and ready next Friday night in Calgary and tomorrow night at Taylor Field against Toronto.
You know what I find interesting? You look at Calgary, 0-3. John Huffnagel, who was the offensive coordinator, no longer there. His team, New Jersey, in the Arena League, is in first place, and he's their new head coach.
No doubt he was an outstanding offensive coordinator with Calgary. Aaron Ruffin had the busy feet, but not many yards out near the 40-yard line. How about those Montreal Alouettes on top in the CFL East? The Argos 1 win behind and facing Saskatchewan tomorrow. The loser of this game tonight is dead last in the CFL East.
It'll be interesting to see how Saskatchewan plays Toronto tomorrow in that ball game. Hamilton had some success against Toronto last week in dropping a lot of people into coverage, but that's not Saskatchewan's style of defense. They like to come after you, which tends to play right into Doug Flutie's hands.
Yeah, and I mean, on paper, that Saskatchewan team is a good-looking team.
Mike Colley at the controls of this Hamilton team right now with 2:30 on the clock. Forced that one. No flag. You wanted one there, did you? Archie Amerson was the intended target.
And look who was running with a speedy running back. It was number 8, Dwayne Knight, the linebacker.
I think Dwayne does a good job of coverage here, but it's what he does after the play. Okay, everything's over with now. Now he doesn't need to throw him on the ground. And I don't think that's within the realm.
This isn't a pillow fight.
But that's, you play within the whistles. The whistle had already blown, so I think they should have flagged him right there. And he's an ex-teammate of mine.
Somewhat similar to the injury that Cavillo had when he hit the turf. Colley well over the head of his intended target, Bert Thornton, far side. And now 2:20 left on the clock. Ticats look at 2nd and 10 and an 8-point deficit.
What a frustrating spot for Don Southern. I mean, there's nothing you can do. I mean, you got a young quarterback out there that's giving it 100%. And it's just frustrating because, you know, I mean, it's not your #1 guy in there, and you desperately need a touchdown. Bert Thornton knows it's a little high and just kind of says, hey, if it was on, I'd have had it.
Osbaldiston from his 25. Baker near his 30. Low bullet-like drive, chasing Shalon Baker back, and he trips over the 22-yard line. Life's embarrassing moments.
The old turf monster jumped up and grabbed Shalon there. That happens to everybody.
And at 5'6", he's a little closer to the ground to get grabbed by it.
Well, at least he's doing this in game action. I've actually done this jogging onto the field at after a
Major
timeout
foul,
or at the change.
I saw you do it in the player introduction.
First down.
Back behind the play. A penalty against the Ticats that may end this thing for them. Unnecessary roughness.
I found if I kept my feet close to the ground, I was quicker.
It's interesting when both feet lock on that turf, isn't it?
Which mine were most of the time, that's for sure.
Now we're staring down at Iverwin Stadium and watching the Bombers close in on a victory with 2:09 to go. Hamilton Ticat defense needs a big play. Well, like that right there, and one more after that to get the ball back to Mike Colley to have one more shot at the touchdown and a 2-point conversion just to tie.
Well, this game's long from over now. There's 2 minutes to go in the game, and anybody that's been around the CFL game knows that the game really begins at the 3-minute warning. And with a game especially as close as this one is, a lot of scoring can be done in the final 3 minutes of the ball game.
Ticats need 8 to tie. Vargas keeps it on the ground. And there's a marker down as Jean-Pierre breaks free one more time. He's run well when he's had the opportunity. Leonard Jean-Pierre helping out on that Bomber backfield, but there are markers back there. And it sounds to me like the Ticats fans saw something they like.
Holding Winnipeg.
Yeah, I think Alan Boyko got hold of Mike Campbell on this play and drug him to the ground, seeing that Mike was going to make the play.
George Black, the head referee's getting tired. He's not even naming the guys anymore. It's just whatever the penalty is.
Holding.
And it doesn't matter who it is. George just saying, like, I've had enough. I'm getting tired. It's just holding.
To the Ticat defense on 2nd and 19. Hamilton should get the ball back. Vargas a little slippery back there. He's got a long way to go. And he comes very close to the first down. This will be an interesting spot.
Well, you know, Joe Momford had talked about the series about 4 series ago. He was going to come up with a sack. There was his opportunity to make a play for his team. And Vargas shook him to the ground and almost picked up a first down.
And here's where Jeff Reinbold's going to get to make his really first big decision of the night, because they are definitely a full yard and maybe a little bit more short. And it's 3rd down, and there's a minute and 30 to go, and he doesn't hesitate.
Kick it away.
Bob Cameron is coming in the game.
It's really not a big decision at this point in time with an 8-point lead, is it?
I think if you've got a young quarterback, certainly this is the way you want to go. You know your defense has played extremely well against the young quarterback. I'd kick it away and make them go the long field. They're going to have bad field position.
Well, he needs a full 2 yards too. This is a tough gamble. So.
And you guys are dead on.
We concur with Mr. Reinbold's first big decision of the night.
And he didn't take long to make it, and that's what you like. You know, no hesitation. That's it. There he is. Hey, Is his heart and stomach churning right now to get #1 as a head coach? First head coaching job in professional football.
You know, he's doing it his way, and I just wanted to throw this in. I mean, he has changed about 85% of this football team. Only one player from last year on defense started at the spot that he's starting at tonight.
And a different regime in Winnipeg than they were used to with Cal Murphy. No disrespect to Cal, but I mean, this is a different kind of club, a different kind of atmosphere, and I would have to think the people of Winnipeg are enjoying this.
Ruffin can't escape the clutches down there near the 15-yard line on a booming punt of 49 yards. Vargas a big part of the game, 18 of 33. The one interception is first of the year. Cavillo had a hot hand for a while before leaving. And too many penalties, 29 in total. For how many yards?
288
29
yards.
penalties. Can you believe that?
That's phenomenal.
Anthony Cavillo finally got the Tiger Cats rolling in the first half under his direction, and then ended up sidelined with a concussion. Mike Colley took over and engineered a couple of nice drives. Vargas was hot near the end of the second quarter. Put 10 points on the board.
Yeah, I thought Chris really had some things going right at the half. They had a no-huddle offense going. He was looking to Coach Joe Powell for... He's trying to say hello to everybody back home in Winnipeg, but he really had some things going, and I think that they got away from some of the things they did well, but fortunately for him, the offensive line took the game on their shoulders and really began to pound the run, and that really has kept them ahead this ball game.
Reinbold says that Vargas makes good decisions, and he's made a lot tonight. There's the veteran Greg Battle back in Winnipeg, where he started his career in 1987 and played with the Bombers till '94.
And again, a teammate hits another teammate of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and I think it was Wade Miller who landed on Battle. I mean, Tyrone Rogers went out of the game when he got hit by a teammate, and so did Tommy Fagan. So the Bombers have the lead by 8, and they have played through some pretty large injuries tonight to their defense.
Yeah, half the defensive line is watching from the sidelines. Tommy Fagan, Tyrone Rogers. Now it's up to the Ticat rookie, Mike Colley. A big run early in the game. And he's got another 10 yards here and a first down with 1:12 to go.
And he's got to get them up off the ground, get everybody ready. Here's where seconds are so precious. And as soon as that whistle goes, you don't want to lose more than 3 seconds.
That's why he'll learn to dump the ball off so he can regroup and not run, because it's really tough to call plays line of scrimmage when you're breathing hard.
Colley. And he's picked off by Dawson. This could be the ball game as Dawson heads to the end zone. Blue Bombers will win. 35-yard interception return.
That's a classic mistake by a young quarterback. I remember I was told early in my career, he who rolls right and throws back left sits next to me on bench.
Is that written up on the quarterback wall somewhere up there among the platitudes?
Yeah, you never roll and throw back across the field. And that's just, again, that's something that the young guy is going to learn and realize he can't get away with. He's got a strong arm and has the ability to make the move, but here Dexter Dawson makes the play.
And here he is when the receiver comes back into here. Dexter Dawson is just hanging in the weeds, and you're so right, David Archer. It's a tough throw to make. There's not the velocity on the ball. Look, that just is hanging there, and Dawson picks it off. Solid defense on his play, and he gets the pick and the touchdown and puts this one away for the Bombers. And he should be happy.
Yeah, I'm not on the kickoff. 2 interceptions. What's up, these smalls? The other one was when the Bombers were threatening, or when the Ticats were threatening near the Bomber goal line.
But I think the biggest adjustment Mike Colley is going to have to make as a quarterback is he's just going to have to take care of the ball when he's under duress. Here's a situation where, again, he's under a lot of heat. Shante Peoples shugs the block of Marcus Thomas. I mean, eat the football in that situation or throw the ball over somebody's head. And obviously, he realizes once the ball's gone, he's made a mistake. But There's no string on the ball. You can't pull it back.
So what was that line again? He who rolls right.
He who rolls right
Should not
and
throw
throws
left.
back left sits next to coach on bench. I learned that early in my career, and that credo is stuck true from what I've seen.
I like that.
Yeah, I did it a few times in my career early, and I learned that I didn't get a lot of PT.
And you didn't like that?
No. I beat my head on the field a few times myself in that situation. I think, I think he's got to have gained a world of confidence from what he's done in this ballgame. This is his first chance to really taste battle, and he's come out and done some good things. He's got a good arm. He's missed on a few occasions, made some mistakes throwing the ball into traffic, but I think that the people here in Hamilton should be pretty happy. They got a young guy that has a chance to maybe be a player in the league.
But you know what, David, when you think about it, were not those numbers really reflective of what you might expect for a young quarterback coming into a situation like this? 6 of 16, no touchdowns and a couple of interceptions. To me, that is really reflective of what you would expect.
Yeah, I think you would see that across the board for quarterbacks for their first start of their career.
I think anything
major playing time.
Anything better, you'd be shocked or pleasantly surprised.
Here's Ruffin to return. One move, maybe another. He's out to the 45. You remember the numbers the first time you got a little bit of playing time as a pro? That first night?
Yes, I do, and I was fortunate enough to get off to a decent start. Played the Philadelphia Eagles my first year in the league as a rookie, and I went 11 of 18 for 180 yards and a touchdown.
Funny how you'd remember that, isn't it?
Well, both teams were 5 and 11 or something like that.
Well, we'll concede this victory to the Blue Bombers, leave the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the Eastern Division basement, and the Bombers with their first win of 1997 did it the hard way in a lot of areas of this football evening.
I think Winnipeg's going to win a lot of games this year. I think they're going to win several more games.
Collie a chance to redeem himself a little bit. Morreale on a fairly safe throw out to the far side.
Of course, to repeat what we talked about in the opening of our broadcast tonight, for Jeff Reinbold, he'll say, okay, we got the first one. I mean, this is a group of players. He's going to have to regroup from some devastating injuries tonight to his defense. But, I mean, they've turned things around. They've got the first victory of the season. On the other hand, for Hamilton, now 0-3. What is this team going to do? Is Anthony Cavillo going to be able to play next week? I mean, they have some serious question marks right now.
Collie just playing out the final few seconds here. Finds Morreale. 2 catches in a row, and Morreale's shaken up as he hits the turf. 37 seconds to go at Ivor Wynn in Hamilton. Somebody had to lose tonight. The Tiger Cats are smarting right now. Argos and the Rough Riders tomorrow at Taylor Field. An 8 o'clock kickoff. That's Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific.
Michael O'Shea and the boys will be going in. Yeah, you bet.
Boy, watch this hit on Mike Morreale. He absolutely gets cartwheeled here and lands right on his head. And I mean, that hurts.
Submarined underneath, and then Dawson comes over the top.
But watch, I mean, he just torpedoes into the ground. Goodness gracious.
Tough injuries tonight. Cavillo, of course, had a concussion in the first half.
Well, that AstroTurf is not forgiving. When you bang your head on it, it's like somebody hitting you in the side of the head with a sledgehammer. That's why I'm a big fan of natural grass.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't disagree with that at all. David, I'd like to get your impressions tonight. You had a chance to watch Chris Vargas now for the second time this year. He's a young quarterback, and it's going to take him time to learn. What do you think of his performance tonight? They're going to win the game?
Well, I think Chris had an up and down game, really. I think that he did some good things, and I think they worked within the confines of what he does well, throwing the short ball, reading coverage.
There's one more for the rookie.
Mike's
That's the hat trick.
Nick Ferguson with the interception there off Mike Collie, and Mike's going to learn a lot. And they just dumped the can of Gatorade down there on top of Jeff Reinbold, and deservedly so. I mean, that's got to be a great feeling for him to win his first ball game. But getting back to Chris Vargas, I think Chris is a guy that has a good running game, and if he understands the confines with which he's working offensively, and they do the things that allows him to be good, and I think that he could be a solid player for him.
They really need the running game to complement what he maybe can do. And
hey, watch here now. We're going to slide this in. Oh!
Woo, baby!
That feels good, I'm sure. When you struggle?
You know what, Jeff, when I talked to him 2.5 hours before the game, he was in his street clothes. We were sitting out there having a chat, and he had a cigar in his top pocket. And I said, "You're saving that one in case tonight's the night." And he said, "You betcha." So I would imagine in about 10 or 15 minutes, there's going to be a cigar lit up by Jeff Reinbold.
There's the double.
Get that shit up and leave up. Leave up, O'Kelly. Get that O'Kelly. We're going to see you next Saturday, baby.
When was the last time you saw a head coach talking to this? I mean, this guy's the new breed, and his players love him, and they've obviously rallied around him and believe in what he's doing.
He is a breath of fresh air.
I was going to say refreshing.
I, for one, love it. It's good for the team, it's good for the city, and it's good for the league, because he's a classy guy.
Well, he got the job done tonight. Jeff Reinbold winning his first game as a CFL head coach. And
Nice job.
the final score looks rather flattering to the Bombers. Don Southern goes back to regroup and try and figure out what to do next with his Hamilton Tiger Cats. Chris Vargas gets his first win as a Blue Bomber. Reinbold said his team would be faster and younger and show more character, and I think all of that was in evidence tonight at Iverwin Stadium in Hamilton. An interesting case study in CFL head coaches when you look at the celebration that Reinbold is enjoying down there with his Winnipeg Blue Bombers. It's Friday Night Football, and the Bombers have their first win of '97. Time now for the TSN Turning Points. David Archer's first.
Well, this is a situation where Winnipeg's defense has to come up with big plays, and Reinbold's scheme. And Hamilton comes up with the interception on a poorly thrown ball by Mike Colley.
And since this is Friday Night Football, we have two turning points. The second one, Dexter Dawson picks it off late in the game, takes this one to the house for a touchdown and seals the win, the first win of 1997 for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
A cash donation will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of coaches in amateur sports on behalf of TSN. Blue Bombers come away with a victory, 33-18 over the Tiger Cats at Iverwin.
Welcome back to Friday Night Football, the postgame show. One of these two teams was destined to pick up its first win of the season. It was Winnipeg, beating the Ticats at Iverwin Stadium tonight, 33-18. And while the Bombers get their shower, there's one guy who's already had his shower a couple of times. The victorious head coach, Jeff Reinbold of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, been waiting for this moment. Congratulations, Coach. Just tell me how it feels to get that first ever CFL win as a head coach.
You know, Rod, it feels wonderful for a lot of people, in Winnipeg that have believed in what we've done. You know, we've made wholesale changes on this football team because we felt we had to improve our age, our speed, and our character, and we've done that. And, you know, a lot of these guys are, frankly, are throwaways. I call them my sewer rats because you look at guys like Ronnie Williams and Tyrone Rogers, and, you know, there was a lot of talk about what we did in free agency, but we got a lot of these guys, Dexter Dawson by trade, you know, Chris Perez by trade. They're guys nobody else wanted because they didn't think they were good enough. And, you know, I know the character and the kind of things that beat inside their chest, and that showed really tonight on this field. I learned that from a guy that,
hey, you don't coach, talk about character all the time. Coach Reinbold, you look good in Gatorade.
Hey, I got to talk about that red jacket you had on 2 weeks ago.
That's killing Calgary. I'm going to have to stop wearing that thing. Listen, Coach, I wanted to ask you, who's responsible for your special teams now? Because I thought that had a lot to do with the outcome of this game tonight.
Well, I handle that aspect, and again, I'm not patronizing you, Coach. You know this. I got to throw you the credit on that because when I came, you gave me my first chance in this league as a special teams guy and imparted to me just how important the kicking game was. And so much of the things that we do, Bob, are the things that we did in '91 when we were at BC.
Oh, I'm almost gonna. I'm coming to tears with this love in here. What a loving. Oh. Hey, Jeff, I know you do things really differently, and I know you spent your own money to go to St. Louis before the season began, to meet with someone I know who you consider pretty special, and he gave you a pep talk and told you to keep doing things differently. Tell us about that.
Yeah, you know what, Marty, he did, and he said believe in what you believe in and follow your course. And you know, I think there was an article, Cam Cole wrote an article about the Eskimos and how they believe in their system and stay with it through thick and thin. And frankly, you know, we've got some people in Winnipeg that when we made the moves we made, trading Wilcox and doing some of those things, they looked at us and thought we were trying to tear this team apart. But what I think we're doing is building something really special here.
And the guy you're talking about, of course, is Dick Vermeil, who you say openly was your mentor.
Yeah, you know what? He really is. And when I get down, you know, we lost to Montreal last week. I spent the whole night in the office and watched the film and watched the film and watched the film. And I picked up a little pamphlet that he had given me on a psychology pamphlet, and really put me back in, you know, gave me that strength to stand up and face a football team, because I was devastated by that loss. That was one we wanted very deeply, and but you got to go on and keep fighting through it.
Coach Ryan Bowles, Les Brown.
Hey, Les, how are you?
Oh, not bad. You know what,
I tell you what, were you ripping the DBs tonight, Les? We finally picked up. I tell you what, we finally picked the ball off. You intercepted more balls in a quarter than we've gotten in the whole season.
Well, you know, we had 2 offensive players up in the booth. They were ripping the DBs real bad tonight. I wanted to ask you about if you still bring those guys into the film room, getting back to special teams, if you still bring them into your office and pick on weaknesses that you see on opposing punt teams.
Well, what we saw was in this, you know, we had a plan after the weekend because we had a long week, and then they changed their punt structure against Toronto, and then we came out and felt we could block one and put Stiegel in a position where they were asking the center to slide to a gap, and that's pretty tough for a big guy to do, and so we put our fastest guy in the gap, much like you guys used to do with Rod Hill. And that's how Milt got the first one, and then we had a chance for 2 others. I think Milt's kicking himself because he could have had one. And then we took advantage of a kind of a lazy guy in that fake field goal thing where we, you know, I was a little bit of my acting coming out in Vancouver on that one.
It worked.
Sometimes even a blind squirrel gets an acorn, fellas.
That's what I keep telling Marty, Coach.
All we really want to know
Speaking of squirrels, you're right, Coach.
All we really want to know is about the Gatorade. How did you fake that surprise when you saw those guys sneaking up behind you?
You know, I tell you what, John, it was the furthest thing from my mind.
Oh, come on.
Honest to God, it was.
You're waiting for your first look at it here on the replay. Well, maybe you were surprised.
Yeah, that was pretty good smile. Hey, Jeff, Leaf up here. Listen.
How's it going?
Oh, great. I'm happy for you. You and I have been friends for a long time, and I couldn't be more thrilled. You're a good guy. You deserve it. How has the city of Winnipeg been for you this year? I mean, with Cal Murphy regime, and it was certainly a different attitude with the team and with the city. I mean, have you been a breath of fresh air for the city, as I suspect you have?
A breath.
You know, I don't really know. To some people, I've been a case of garlic breath, I suppose, you know. But I think the thing that's been hardest for me, Leaf, is to know that we have such a rich football tradition there, and Cal and Mike and, you know, Ray Yock and all the way back to Bud Grant. There have been great coaches that have coached at that place, and we have a tremendous pride. And to lose 4, when you count the 2 exhibition games, lose 4 straight, you know, I'm not holding up my end when that happens, so it's a relief to me because I honor that tradition. You know, there's an awful lot been said about Cal Murphy, and I gotta say publicly that if it wasn't for guys like Cal Murphy, there probably wouldn't be a league for us to coach in right now, so I'll always be indebted to him for that.
Listen, enough of this love in. We got to get you off the air before you tear up here.
Hey, I'll tell you what, before you go, there's a kid back in Winnipeg that I saw the night before we flew out here that got his high school quarterback got injured in a chainsaw accident, a kid named Joshua, and I'm going to give him the game ball. So, Josh, I'll have it for you at St. Boniface Hospital next week.
Hey, classy stuff, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's only win number 1, but it was a big celebration for the Blue Bombers, and Jeff Reinbold will send it back to Friday Night Football Control.
All right, thank you, John, and let it be said, the first impersonation of Bob Obilovich of the season goes to the winning coach of tonight's football game. Now, as for the losing coach, Marty, Don Sutherland, in trouble before, I would certainly think in a lot of trouble now.
Well, I'm fully expecting to see David McDonald and George Grant, the Hamilton co-owners, make a move. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Urban Bowman, who is the offensive line coach in Hamilton, gets the nod, and we see Southern gone before the end of the week.
Still to be seen what goes on in the Hamilton Tiger Cat camp, falling to 0-3. The only other 0-3 team, Calgary Stampeders. We'll have more on Friday Night Football when we come back here on TSN.
Friday Night Football on TSN is brought to you by Advantage, providing solutions for business. And by Gatorade. Life is a sport. Drink it up.
And if you watched the game and was surfing as well, you might be interested in knowing who won at QB1. There is your winner for tonight's game. Speaking of games, Week 3 isn't over until this one is. Saskatchewan Roughriders and Toronto Argonauts at Taylor Field in Regina, and we've got it for you live, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific time. Coming up next, Sports Desk with Teresa Cruz and Michael Landsberg, and you can check out the CFL highlights again. That ended with Jeff Reinbold's first victory, Winnipeg 33-18 over Hamilton. For all of us at Friday Night Football, have a great evening. So long.